How are you doing today, Cal?
Not bad. You?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good. There's snow. A huge snowstorm hit Minnesota.
Yeah.
And it's middle of April. You would think that there would be no more snow.
Yeah.
But we got a huge dump load on us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. This isn't as bad as the winter, the snow winter of 1880.
apparently not.
Or whatever it is, which I looked up for some reason. Laura Ingalls Wilder wrote about it. It was really bad. And they got like 11 feet of snow or something like that in 1880.
Which is ridiculous.
And I'm trying to figure out what was going on.
Who knows?
Global warming, cooling, something.
Yeah.
There's actually, there's okay, welcome to Just Enough Meteorology, I guess, or like paleometeorology, but there's actually, something called the medieval ice age that went from like the 1300s to probably like the early 1800s, and it was kind of a general cooling that happened all around Earth.
Okay.
Where, don't tell the deniers this, but it's true that our climate does circulate, and it doesn't have anything to do necessarily with humans, although we are definitely causing a warming right now.
Right.
But it does kind of fluctuate up and down. And so, yeah, a lot of times it was just kind of average temperatures were cooler back then. But it all wrapped up by 1880, so I don't know what was going on with that. You can look it up online and see pictures of people standing on railroad tracks, which either they had to clear or, I don't know, maybe a train can just clear it itself by just locomoting through it. And they're standing on the tracks, and yeah, the snow goes way up, and 11 feet.
That's crazy.
I know. So what are you complaining about?
I suppose
Got
nothing.
Nothing to complain about at all. Well, we certainly don't have anything to complain about because everything is going so great with us here at the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mika and Hannah.
And we're here for number 2, part 2.
That's right.
Phase 2 of our Merry Marvel Watching Society.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to cover all the films in Phase 2. Off the top of your head, can you name all the films in Phase 2?
I can. Iron Man 3, Thor 2, Thor the Dark World, Captain America Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Age of Ultron, and last but not least, Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. Yeah, Ant-Man. Just throw in at the end there.
Yep.
And we were watching Ant-Man, and I was thinking, what a way to sort of decide to end your Phase 2.
Yeah.
Especially when, and, we don't want to talk ahead of ourselves, but, the very next film is Civil War.
Yeah.
So you've got Age of Ultron. All right, we've got a new purpose here. Where do we got to get together? Thor, you're going to do this. The rest of us, we got the B team rolling out.
Right.
There's one movie where Paul Rudd runs around at Baskin Robbins, and then now we're all at each other's throats.
Yep, pretty much.
So it's just, it continues that thing of, and a lot of these films are written by the same people. Like Marcus and McFeely write, for instance, a cliffhanger, and then you think, okay, they'll come pick it up.
Right.
No, because the entire world has changed now. The entire universe, really, of cinematic films has changed. And we're hitting that point that I love, but I guess can be sort of frustrating when you think about it, is that they don't exist in their own universes anymore. I think Iron Man did, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But they're all now in this Marvel Cinematic Universe.
True.
Which means you can have a film. Thor 3 is a Thor movie, but it's also a Hulk movie.
Yes.
Captain America is an Avengers movie, Captain America Civil War.
Yes.
And, yeah, I mean, for good or bad, that's kind of where we're at now.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. You definitely can't. You have to acknowledge that Captain America Civil War really is like Avengers 2.5. It is a Captain America movie, but at its, I mean, it's also an Iron Man movie. So,
and Spider-Man Homecoming is like Iron Man 3.5.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Just moving on.
Moving
forward.
Chocolate in my peanut butter.
Never stops. Yeah. So anyway, we're talking about Phase 2 films today, the films that Mika and Anna mentioned. We'll do a little news, and I think we've talked about how we're doing, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so let's just, we got a lot to get through, so let's get right to it, get to the news.
Sounds good.
So the first thing that I want to talk about is something that I don't have a lot of connection to or excitement for,
Okay.
Yeah, can't wait to talk about it. But the Terminator reboot has cast its new Terminator.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed.
Who is the new Terminator?
It is Gabriel Luna.
Who is that?
Okay. Yeah, I know, right? It's a guy who I think probably the most nerd-related thing that he's done is that he played Ghost Rider on S.H.I.E.L.D. He appeared on S.H.I.E.L.D.
All right.
as the Ghost Rider. And
Okay.
other than that, I don't know. I can't really think of a bunch of things that he's done. He's done a lot of TV work. And that's about it.
Okay.
He was in Prison Break.
Oh boy.
For one episode.
Is he big and muscly?
No, not really. I mean, he doesn't give me that impression. He is kind of. He just looks like a guy.
Okay.
Gabriel Luna. He is Hispanic or Latinx person.
Okay.
Other than that, yeah, I don't have any sense of his height, but he doesn't look like a real big guy.
Huh.
But then again, neither was Robert Patrick.
That's true. Is Arnold still playing T2?
Arnold is supposed to be involved in some capacity,
Okay.
but we don't know how or what that means.
The capacity is.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Well, interesting.
yeah.
That remains to be seen, I guess.
Yeah. I don't put him in it somehow.
I mean, he could play like a cameo. Be like a cop or something.
What,
But-
are you thinking what I'm thinking? What about, so remember in Terminator 3,
Yeah.
Rise of the Machines, I think it's called, he has a cameo as, well, he plays himself, of course, the Terminator, but he also plays I can't remember the character's name, and I think these scenes, were they deleted scenes or were they in the film? I can't remember, but they show you that there's a man who was the original basis for the Terminator model. There's a reason that he looks like and sounds like, well, not sounds like, but looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he's like this big guy who's a soldier, and then he talks. The joke is he talks, and it's like, I'm glad I'm helping out this program.
Oh my gosh.
And they're like, we got to do something about that voice. And then there's no explanation as to why they chose like barely understandable Austrian man, but that's what we went with. So yeah, so I don't know, maybe that character.
I could see that.
Maybe, yeah, he's some kind of like real person, or maybe that character has a child, or descendant, and this is taking place maybe a little bit in the future.
Oh, okay.
Farther down the timeline of whatever we decide to do with Judgment Day or how that kind of works out. And so his father was a soldier, but he's involved now, and he's helping terminate or something, helping resist or whatever they're doing.
I could see that.
Okay. I'm not very excited about this. But he could break
also,
Gabriel Luna in half, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. He could also just play, I guess, the original T2.
And, well, you think so? The original T-850 from T2.
Yeah.
So if we've got time travel, why does it have to be a new Terminator every time? Why don't we just somehow get that Terminator?
That's a good question.
And then we don't know why he's old.
Right.
They kind of tried to explain that in the last one, but yeah, we'll just do that. But anyway, well, I think it's funny that they're making a kind of big deal out of this, so I think that his role will be sort of big. But remember, we've had other Terminator actors before, and I don't remember a big deal about them. Like, there's always like in 4, for instance, there was a bunch of kind of random Terminators. There was like and I'm just doing this for visual identification, but there was a kind of Asian guy who was like the T-1000.
Yep.
Who comes in because I guess they couldn't get Robert Patrick, or Robert Patrick looks totally different than he used to.
Yeah.
Robert Patrick is, he's not a bad-looking man now, but he went from like a real good-looking man to like,
kind of rugged.
Ooh. And I don't know if it's just, I don't know anything about his life, if it's hard living or if it's just that, that hot blonde thing where it's like the candle that burns twice as bright.
Yeah.
So anyway, real hot. And now, Grandpa. All right, yeah. Not quite the same. Speaking of S.H.I.E.L.D., and we kind of were, it's the end. The end. We've reached the end.
The end of our story.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we've ever reached the end for S.H.I.E.L.D., but apparently the new, or the latest finale, the season 5 finale of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is titled The End. And there is no word about a pickup. Now, we're mid-April. So it's not definitive at this point. I do think that it's always been a bubble show. And so nobody's said anything about whether it's coming back or not. Jeff Loeb has said that he's optimistic, but cautiously that it'll come back. But this could be it. This could be it for old S.H.I.E.L.D.
Sounds like they're expecting it to be the end.
Yeah. It just could be the end of whatever plotline is going on right now.
I suppose.
I don't know what it is.
The end of our plotline.
Yeah.
The end.
Speaking of, well, hopefully we're not speaking of ends, but I want to talk about Stan Lee really fast.
Okay.
And then we'll do a news roulette.
Okay.
After this. We'll talk about Stan Lee quick. Anybody who doesn't know what's going on with Stan Lee, things are not great with Stan Lee. And I don't have perfect exacting facts on this, so I'll kind of go through it fast and don't take any of this as gospel, but
okay.
this is what I hear. So he's not doing well.
Okay.
You know, his wife died last year.
Yes.
He has been in assisted care. I think we talked about this on a previous show.
Yes.
And I'm not too worried because he's got a lot of money. It's probably a real nice assisted care situation.
Yes.
All rich people have assisted care. Jennifer Garner has like 3 assistants that assist her, right? They just don't feed her applesauce. Or maybe
right.
they do. I ain't judging. So that's all going on. And now we're worried about the money because there's these reports that have come out that his former business manager has written checks in his name, like forged checks.
Oh, boy.
Taken money from him. We talked on a previous show about the kind of dodgy charitable thing that he was involved with that's not going well.
Yep.
Apparently his daughter, JC, and we say daughter, but you know she's in her 60s or 70s or whatever.
Sure.
Has been kind of spending the money, and so maybe there's not so much money anymore.
Okay.
And this agent reportedly took his blood.
Yeah. We talked about that before.
It was going to use it, to like sign or stamp collectibles and things like that, which is not something. I mean, it's been done before, but he forged documents to take the blood.
It's messed up.
So Stan Lee had been sick with pneumonia for a while. We hadn't heard from him. Well, he's better now. That's the good news.
Okay.
The bad news is I don't think he knows what's going on. He made a video in which he seemed pretty present and clear, but he basically threw the glove down and said that he was going to sue anybody who was claiming or writing that he was a victim of elder abuse.
Okay.
So we were like, okay. And the person that made the video was one of his caretakers or handlers that's being sort of implicated in these stories.
Okay.
And then a day after that, he did file a suit against this guy that took the blood and did all this other stuff.
Okay.
So Stan Watch.
Yeah.
18 continues.
Oh my gosh.
Excelsior.
Oh boy.
Exusior.
Oh.
So we'll have more on that as it develops. Hang in there, Stan.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to read some titles of news stories, and you do the Starship Troopers click if you want to know more. Okay.
Okay,
Otherwise,
all right.
we'll just blow through.
Okay.
Charlize Theron confirms Atomic Blonde sequel in the works.
Do we want another one of those?
Are you clicking on this, or are we moving on?
I'm clicking on it.
Okay, you're going to click on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they say. And there isn't really a lot more information besides that. I mean, this is I think this was always a niche-y sort of thing.
Yeah.
Although, hot actress in a kick-ass, action movie, it seems like a no-brainer.
Right.
But it didn't make a ton of money. It didn't make as much as everybody probably wanted it to. But at the San Francisco International Film Festival, Charlize Theron did say that she is working on a sequel.
Okay. Well, good for her. I like Charlize Theron.
Yeah.
I thought the movie was okay. I didn't enjoy it quite as much as I thought I would or hoped I would.
Yeah.
So.
Do you think that Fury Road was her Taken?
She's going down a road now where she's
Fury Road?
Where she's doing action movies.
Her door to being an action star?
That could be.
Because it wasn't Eon Flux.
No.
It wasn't that.
It was definitely not Eon Flux.
Yeah.
I could see that. Fury Road definitely was an action-packed film and everything.
Yeah.
And it's a great film.
And it was a proof of concept. It
Yes.
showed us that, yeah, all right. I always wonder if people take these just because it seems like a cool project, or if they take them with a thought towards, I'm going to be an action hero now.
Right.
Watch this succeed, and then I'll be out there.
Right.
But either way, I mean, I think it worked.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to beat more guys up. Those are the best parts of Atomic Blonde.
Those were the best parts, for sure.
So, we'll see. As you and I both know, there is no, I don't think there's a sequel to Coldest City, but again, I could be totally wrong about that. They didn't really follow Coldest City in adapting it perfectly. A lot of it's there. So this is the kind of thing that you can just say, no, it's the early 90s. Maybe she's in Chechnya or something like that. Kind of write your own ticket there.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, remember, click if you want to know more.
Okay.
Licensed content generates 80% of U.S. viewing, study finds for Netflix.
80%.
Are you clicking?
I'm clicking.
You can click on all of these?
I don't know.
You only get 2 more clicks.
Okay.
So anyway, report shows that 80% of Netflix's viewing figures come from their licensed content. That means Breaking Bad episodes. That means Star Trek or Family Guy or whatever.
It isn't Netflix shows.
Ozark. Yeah,
yes.
Right, exactly. That's not what people are watching.
Well, that's kind of disappointing for them, I would think.
Yep. And if the money works out, it's sort of like if you've got, FU money, then you can do it. Keep making Ozark. And Ozark has been renewed for a second season for God only knows why. if the deals that they make on 80% of these shows, or the things that people are actually watching, make them a Uncle Scrooge-sized thing of money that allows them to make whatever stupid, derivative, boring... what's it called? Requiem.
Yeah.
Which people, not everything's great. Just because you watch
true.
something doesn't mean it's great. And I'm willing to, speaking of original content, I'm willing to give you that when it comes to Lost in Space. Here's our review of Lost in Space, the pilot, the first episode.
I thought it was okay.
It's okay. I don't understand the tone at all.
The tone was kind of all over the place.
Because it's not... I mean, the original was, there were scary parts.
Yeah.
But it was, cute,
Mm-hmm.
This isn't, cute. There's a lot of, children, underage children shrieking in terror.
Yes.
Because of their impending death.
Yes.
And you're like, what? And then they're like, oh, yes, magnesium burns very hot. They're, trying to teach you Doctor Who science lessons, too.
Yeah.
And it's TVPG. It's clearly meant for a family audience, but it's intense.
It is intense. And it's intense for the kids, like you said.
Yeah.
They're put in life-threatening situations.
They've been trained. They've been cleared. Why are children on this mission?
Yeah, I know.
Shouldn't Maureen and John be 20-year-old astronauts?
Yes.
Who are fertile?
Yes.
And go to this other planet and then have children?
Yes.
But instead they're sending 9-year-old Will Robinson on this adventure where he, almost burns to death in a forest fire and is in a ship crash. And so anyway. Other than that, I definitely... Here's the best review. I want to see more.
Sure.
So we'll definitely be watching more.
Yeah.
Okay. It's working.
Yeah.
We're the 20%.
Yes.
Donnie Yen to star in Disney's live-action Mulan.
Okay.
It's okay to pass.
I'll pass on this one.
Okay. TV series of Injection in development. That's the Declan Shalvey, Warren Ellis comic book that I haven't read. I've heard is good.
Okay. I'll pass on that one.
Okay. See how easy this is? Game of Thrones wraps epic battle for Season 8 that took 55 nights to shoot.
I'm going to click on that one.
Okay, we're clicking. So as we all know, HBO is in its 8th season, last season of Game of Thrones.
Yes.
And they just recently finished a battle scene that took 55 nights to shoot. It was 3 locations.
That's so crazy.
11 weeks, and it takes place at night. So I don't...
Oh, well, there you go.
I mean, does the winter also mean that it's night? Does the sun go away?
I would think so. At least
winter
for
comes, but also darkness comes?
I would think so, at least for a good portion of it.
Okay.
Because our winters are darker than our summers.
Sure.
So, yeah,
okay.
I would think so.
Yeah. It was shot on location in Northern Ireland in sub-zero weather. And it's probably pretty epic.
Yeah, I imagine it is.
Yep.
I mean, 55 nights, that's a lot.
Yeah. The producers and the assistant director who helmed a lot of it wrote a special note to everybody that was involved saying,
thank you.
Yeah, a year from now, people are going to watch this and they're going to go, whoa, that was great. And they'll never know, how much you guys put into it and did for it. So, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
That's got to be, whatever the big finale is, that's got to be. Because we're not hearing about a 65-day shoot somewhere else.
Right.
So it's got to be it. But it's kind of soon.
Yeah.
It's almost over.
I know. I don't want to see it go.
It's gonna go.
Yeah.
How does it end in a fun way?
Is it going to end in a fun way?
Unless it's the shortest winter ever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even if they win, all the bad people, like, who's a good guy and who's a bad guy, but all the people who are destructive to repairing their society are gone, and all the quote-unquote good people are there, it's still going to be winter for a couple years.
Yes, it is.
Nobody kept any food. Dragons burned up a lot of it.
Yep.
Like, we're still... Jon Snow could win this thing and starve to death.
Still lose. Yeah. For sure.
Bad news.
It is bad news.
People are afraid to eat loud snacks while watching A Quiet Place.
This just tickles me. I'm not going to click on it, though.
I think it speaks for itself, though.
Yes, I think so, too.
I think Rampage just barely edged out Quiet Place this weekend. Opening this weekend, of course, at around 35 million, I think.
Okay.
So not too... I don't know what the budget was on Rampage. It looks like it was big. But not too terrible. Reviews are... I'm embarrassed to say I like this.
Oh, really?
That's the tone of the reviews.
Okay.
But apparently it's okay. Apparently the gorilla is real good.
All right.
So, I don't know.
Well, for what it is.
Dollar Theater.
Yeah.
We'll see it. Apple lands Isaac Asimov Foundation TV series from David Goyer and Josh Friedman.
I'm going to click on this one.
Okay. I think that's your last click.
Okay.
Apple, of course, as we know, has been out there trying to get TV shows. They want to be a competitor and an original content producer.
They want to play with the big boys.
They want a piece of that 80% pie from Netflix. Yeah, and so that's what they're doing. They have bought the rights for the Asimov's Foundation. I believe it's a trilogy, but I think there's more than 3 books. And this is supposed to be an adaptation of that. If you don't know, Foundation is like a space opera-esque type book, but it's kind of more political than that, and it's just a classic.
All right.
It was written a long time ago in like the 40s. The protagonist is a psychohistorian.
Oh boy.
No, it's one word. No, it's pronounced an aurapist. And the idea is that by looking at trends in history, you can extrapolate where everything is going to go, and so the empire of humanity uses this to make decisions, and it's sort of like a Game of Thronesy political maneuvering type thing going on.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what it's going to be there.
All right.
I don't know what anything else to say. I mean, they've been done okay with Westworld. Westworld's coming back.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'll fold this into Westworld.
Okay.
So the Westworld creators came out recently and said, look, you guys love your spoilers. Everybody wants to know what's going to go on in these shows. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make a video, and it's going to lay out all the plot beats of Season 2. So if you want to know, here you can know. And then if you want to watch still, fine. But that'll keep you guys from, just tearing your eyes out or ruining our plot lines trying to figure out the plots. So they said they'd do this. The next day they released the video.
Yeah.
They rickrolled us. Rickrolled us. What is it, 2002?
No kidding.
This is... What?
I don't understand why they would do that.
But it's so dorky. Like, your parents know what a rickroll is now.
Yeah.
It's not even a thing anymore.
That's true.
And also, don't thumb your nose at 4chan or something, or whoever it is that figures out the spoilers.
Yeah.
Because they're going to get it like that.
Yeah.
They had that Ed Harris thing cracked almost immediately. And I just say, there's one of two things you can do. You can develop a show with good characters and dialogue and storyline that doesn't rely on twists like that.
Right.
Or you can just make them real, real good. And instead, they just taunted the people that try to figure out their spoilers.
Yeah, which I don't think is a great thing to do.
No.
And it kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Antagonizes your fans.
Trolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The original troll.
Mm-hmm.
Where's he at? TJ Miller charged with calling in fake bomb threat.
Stupid.
You're out of clicks.
I know.
You have to look that one up on your own, audience. Batgirl movie gets new screenwriter to replace Joss Whedon.
Can you tell me who it is?
Okay, fine. I'll tell you who it is really fast. It is somebody by the name of Christina Hodson. Let's see, her claim to fame is that she has 3 scripts on the blacklist, the Hollywood blacklist.
Okay.
If you don't know, the Hollywood blacklist it's a list of unproduced screenplays. Now, these are usually screenplays that everybody's read, but they just haven't been picked up or greenlit for some reason.
Sure.
But they are of note. Like, people will go, "Whoa, this is really good," but nobody's bought it. I don't know. I should have an example. I don't have any good examples right now. But let's say, like, The Matrix or something like that.
Sure.
It's too weird. It's too conceptual. But everybody knows that if somebody would just take a chance on it, it'd probably do well. Mm-hmm. Now, some of those movies, scripts get made into movies, and they're no good. It's not a guarantee of anything. But
sure.
It's usually like the sign of like, oh, this person's a talent. They just haven't found an outlet yet.
Okay.
She has an outlet. She's writing the Bumblebee movie.
Okay.
And apparently she was attached to the Harley Quinn and Birds of Prey film.
Okay.
So, the Batgirl movie might have Birds of Prey in it.
It might.
Who knows? These properties are just, there's a Jared Leto one, there's a Margot Robbie one,
right.
There's a Joaquin Phoenix one. They're
right.
all moving around, and so we don't know.
Well, that could be good.
Yeah.
I like that it's a lady.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's good to get Joss Whedon out there.
Well, I mean, Joss Whedon does good stuff for ladies too, but he
good stuff for ladies.
Yeah.
Ding.
But sometimes he missteps. So
how so?
Well, like we're going to talk about in Age of Ultron, like Black Widow.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We probably shouldn't wait too much longer. Why don't we just get right to that?
All right, sounds good.
If we're talking about the thing that I think that we're talking about.
Yeah.
All right, Marvel Cinematic Universe Films Phase 2.
Yep.
Who came up with this crazy phase idea?
I don't know.
What is that all about?
I don't know.
It is Phase 2. This is, I would consider, to be the best. These are the best films.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah, they're pretty strong.
Maybe it's my love of Empire Strikes Back and how the middle part of a trilogy always seems to be the best, but I feel like these are probably the strongest films. There are some very enjoyable films in Phase 3, but for some reason, these ones really work for me.
Yep.
And the first one that we're going to talk about is Iron Man 3.
Yep.
What's special about Iron Man 3?
Well, Tony has PTSD about New York.
Yeah, sure. Give me the plot thing, and then we'll get into the real stuff.
He has PTSD about New York. He has anxiety attacks, and that's something new for Tony. He hasn't experienced them before.
Right.
And I don't know. We have another scientist guy who is rivaling Tony in this film.
Yep. Another case of Tony basically creating his own enemy.
Yes. Aldridge Killian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
The Extremis is pretty scary stuff.
Yeah. That's it?
I don't know.
Rebecca Hall. And a giant bunny.
Yes, and a giant bunny.
I don't get it.
I don't think there's anything to get.
I don't get it. But that's Shane Black for you.
Yeah.
This is, God, what was Shane Black doing before this?
I don't know. Writing other Christmas films?
Yeah, well, I really don't understand that. Not really a lot. I mean, he had done Kiss Kiss Bang Bang almost 10 years before, which I think in a lot of ways resurrected Robert Downey Jr.'s career.
Yeah.
And then made Iron Man 3 in 2015. And it's almost like, I think that the Iron Man films had always had kind of the feeling of a Shane Black-y type thing.
Yeah.
But it never actually been Shane Black. So when he was brought on, I don't know, it just kind of felt like, okay, yeah. If you're not totally sick of Christmas and quips and guys getting tied to things and tortured or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do Shane Black. Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
And we end up with a movie that's pretty much all those things.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a review of it?
I don't know. I guess I'd give it a 2 out of 5.
Yeah, it's great. Love it. 2 out of 5.
It's okay. It's better than I remembered it being.
Yeah.
It has its good points. There's like a huge explosion at Tony's place, and he puts Pepper in the Iron Man suit. That's kind of cool.
Right. She gets her own suit in the comics, you know.
Does she really?
Yeah, it's called Rescue.
Okay.
It doesn't have any weapons, I don't think, but it's for rescuing people.
Well, that makes sense. Kind of rescuing her too, probably.
Yeah, it makes sense because she's not a killing soldier Avenger.
No, she's not.
Except for the end of this movie, where suddenly she's got extremist kung fu skills.
Yes.
Which they then take away off screen.
Yes.
Because we can't have a powerful woman.
No, we can't have that.
No.
Mm-mm.
Women have to be saved or completely duplicitous.
Yeah.
And then murdered brutally, and nobody comments on it.
Yeah.
What
It's
the hell?
really dark.
What the hell?
Yeah.
I just can't ride with that kind of stuff. Everybody said that The Nice Guys was so great, and I turned it off 10 minutes in because it was so misogynistic.
Yeah.
It's set in the 70s. It's supposed to be. I know, but I can choose not to watch that. I'm not into that. I don't want to see that.
Right.
And I just see that in this. There just aren't any important female characters at all.
No, not really. I mean, Potts is important, but she gets, like you said, she gets sidelined. And
apparently, and I might be just whistling Dixie here, but Rebecca Hall, who I'm just continually amazingly unimpressed by everything she's ever been in, was supposed to be the Mandarin. The switch is that she was behind it all at some very early part in the development of the script.
Okay.
But I guess Shane Black thought nobody's going to buy that a woman was the mastermind. So we'll make it Guy Pearce and we'll bring Ben Kingsley in. Now, we all know that Ben Kingsley will do anything for money.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's no surprise that he's in this. What'd you think about the Mandarin twist?
I thought it was kind of lame. It was a good twist in that you weren't expecting it at first, but it just kind of made sense. Of course, Aldrich Killian was the Mandarin.
Well, I mean, if we go by every single film where, like, Tony, is mean to some nerd or some colleague, and then that guy gets mad and then tries to destroy him.
Yes.
Yeah. Tony Stark, able to engender murderous hate in anyone.
Yes. Which is not a great attribute to have.
Yeah. What'd you think about Jon Favreau being in this? Is he just taking a paycheck at this point?
Apparently.
Doesn't he have a Jumanji to direct or something? You don't need to be in. I mean, he wasn't in it for long, but...
No, he wasn't.
Did you think that it wasn't enough that they blew up Mann's Chinese Theater? Like, Happy had to be there for Tony to be like, oh, here's my address. Like, nobody knows where Tony Stark lives?
Yeah, I know, right? Then the secret jets showed up.
Yeah,
and
the
then
plot makes no sense if you try to work it out. Like, what? So, Rebecca Hall's character went to the house, but she was gonna. But they always. I think they want Tony on their team.
Yep.
Because Killian, going forward, he's doing something with the brain, and he's going to upgrade the brain.
Yep.
Which is extremist, I guess, but you can use it on plants which don't have brains. It doesn't matter. And so I think it's one of those things where Killian has, ambition, but only Tony can be the real genius in this world.
Right.
So they really need somebody like Tony on board to keep making science and new developments for AIM or whatever they're gonna do.
Right.
If it's really gonna be AIM, I would have liked to have seen a bunch of like scientist characters. Like, let's just dig into the comic books and just get a bunch of obscure sort of bad guys all working. And then they kind of did that because they had Rebecca Hall and some other people. But otherwise it's just a bunch of guys with ponytails and machine guns that get beat up by Tony Stark.
Where were the yellow suits?
The yellow? Oh yeah.
The
beekeeper outfits.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen that.
Or at least some nod to it.
Yes, exactly.
What do you think about Jurassic Park 3 kid?
I don't know.
Shane Black.
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yep.
Usually some kind of precocious kid.
Yes.
That we don't need. Misogyny. We've got the
Yes.
all three legs of the stool are right here.
Mm-hmm. The kid's name was like Harley or something like that.
I don't care. Yeah, I think it was. Very improbably, I think it was Harley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Stan Lee cameo was him holding up a 10 at a beauty contest.
Yep.
It doesn't say anything.
A beauty contest on Christmas out of the middle of nowhere. Everybody
Yep.
in skimpy, tiny bikinis.
Yep.
Shane Black.
Yep. Misogynistic.
You'll never see me coming. Let me tell you about fortune cookies. They are an American invention. What?
I know.
Why did anybody, like, while you're watching this film, and I was taken aback by the whole quote-unquote twist, but even before it happened, I was like, this is not going well.
No.
Because he's clearly ridiculous. He's a ridiculous person.
Mm-hmm.
And he's making speeches about fortune cookies. It's
Yes.
like, this is a bad villain. No, I didn't know how bad it was going to get, but
It gets pretty bad.
I'm going to go 2.5. I was going to say 3. I talked myself down to a 2.5.
Okay.
It just doesn't feel like a Marvel movie
I get that.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I liked,
It's not as upbeat.
bringing
as a
all
lot
the
of-
suits out. It's a great set piece, like the whole end thing where he's jumping in and out of suits and he's like, they're doing all that stuff.
Yep.
Rhodey gets to do some cool stuff.
Yes.
And isn't just a guy that needs, the War Machine armor or whatever. We see him do cool stuff, but you'll never see me coming.
Yeah. I want to know how the Iron Man suits survived the house decimation.
Well, and that's something else. How come he couldn't just... He's in Tennessee. His one suit, which is a prototype, needs to charge with a car battery or whatever, and it's going to take a long time. You couldn't just activate the house party protocol? Wouldn't 37 Iron Man suits really help you go after Killian?
Yeah. It would have.
Doesn't
And
make sense.
apparently,
No,
he's
but
got
we had to go to a beauty pageant.
Fix the one suit that he has.
And we had to go to this guy who's like, dude, I'm your biggest fan. I got
Right.
a Tony Stark tattoo.
Yeah. Hilarious.
I could go too.
I'm at a 2, personally.
The one interesting real world thing that was kind of coming in was the idea of him being overwhelmed by his experiences.
Yes.
All of the Avengers should probably be freaking out and waking up in a cold sweat like every night.
Yeah.
But, having it the most human, if you will, character, or at least the character with the stunning control issues, feeling out of control. Yeah. Of course, it never went anywhere.
No.
It's not like he had to overcome it.
No.
It would just happen and he'd go, all right, I'm done.
Exactly.
Which is exactly
Which is-
how mental illness works.
Right. You don't have to go through therapy or anything like that.
Well, he tries, and that's a little joke at the end.
Yeah. With Banner.
Yeah.
And I'm not that kind of doctor. I don't have the temperament.
The fact that they couldn't even get this right. So the extremist thing blows up.
Yep.
It vaporizes people and leaves their shadow on the wall.
Yep.
Like the bombs at Hiroshima or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The shadows are dark. The shadows should be light. All around the person should be burned.
Yeah, you're right.
What would have hit the wall is absorbed by the person, yet the shadows are drawn in dark. And it's like, you guys aren't even trying. What you think about James Badge Dale as bad guy whose name I don't know and I'm not going to look up? Lecky from the Pacific.
Oh, I don't know.
And then also generic, redheaded, that's clearly a wig girl bad guy.
Oh, yeah, I
who
know.
fights Tony in an overly sexualized way.
That was
I'm
a
going
little
2.
much.
I'm down to 2.
That was a little much.
I'm at 2.
Yeah. She was totally over-sexualized, and it,
Well, I mean, I didn't think it was terrible,
but it wasn't great, though.
yeah.
She was clearly just there to be just a roadblock for Tony.
Yeah. The whole point of creating the Mandarin was to put it off on somebody else, I guess, so that Killian could do stuff. But the whole thing is that Killian is trying to do this surreptitious development and like deploying of like this technology to get control. So I need to lay low. Let's create a figure that takes responsibility for threatening the president of the United States.
Yes.
What a strategy for laying low.
Yes.
And also, if you are Trevor, I'm Trevor. If you're that guy, I know that he's like not scrupulous or entirely scrupulous, but his whole thing is that it's all fake.
Mm-hmm.
Is he totally there's TVs in that house that they keep him in.
Yeah.
So he has to watch the news. If you are
You would
speaking for a terrorist organization, it doesn't matter if you fired the bombs or whatever. You're a terrorist.
Yeah.
How does he square that?
I don't think he does. I don't think he...
He just likes getting the drugs
Yes.
and the women that they give him.
Yes.
And they give him women because it's a shame.
And I don't think he thinks about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's messed up.
Yeah. He's a monologuer,
Yes.
Killian. He's the monologuer of all time because all he does is talk about how he just wants to do business and he was trying to keep a low profile. And it's like, you created this whole machine. You created the Mandarin. You created all this stuff. You could just stop. You could just disappear, keep working on whatever it is, and accomplish whatever you want to, which I don't even know what your goal is. Let's stop while I'm at 2.
Okay.
Let's stop while I'm at 2. It's loosely based off of the Warren Ellis Extremis story arc in the comics.
Okay.
Which involves Tony using... There's this Extremis that's developed. It is used on veterans. There's one veteran who's trying to get back at the U.S. Tony takes the Extremis and kind of does his own thing to it and actually ends up like changing his body. They kind of refer to that with Tony injecting himself with the things that let the Iron Man go on him or whatever.
Yeah.
Of course, it doesn't seem to matter all that much because it can go on Pepper or whoever he wants to.
Yep.
I guess he's just controlling it. But anyway, and it's really dark. And honestly, there's not enough story in it to make a movie. But they ran with it as far as this goes.
Yeah, they definitely did.
And Downton Abbey's funny.
Oh my gosh.
It's Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
See, he's a big guy.
Yep.
He's kind of a tough guy.
Yeah.
But he watches Downton Abbey.
I know.
Well, if I'm giving 2 to Iron Man 3, it's going to make my rating for Thor 2 look real bad, I think.
All right.
But let's talk about Thor 2.
Can I do my haiku real quick?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Anxiety attacks give Tony the shakes. He creates a clean slate, clear mind.
Ooh, like that one.
Thank you.
The blue laser census is at 0 for this movie. I mean, there are certainly lasers fired.
Yes.
If there is anything that you could call the stereotypical blue laser. Let's talk about 2013's Thor: The Dark World.
Let's.
I'll give you the recap for this one. In this film, we're first introduced, like in the first movie, to an event in the past. Odin tells us that they fought the Dark Elves. Actually, his father, Bor, fought the Dark Elves in times gone by over this weapon called the Ether, which was then put between 2 rocks in a cave somewhere.
Yep.
That's probably fine. Nobody will ever just stumble onto that. Mm-hmm. And we return to the real world, and there is unrest, rebellion, probably coming off of the events of the first film after the Bifrost broke. So Thor and his pals are going through the 9 realms and kind of cleaning up.
Yep.
And we're coming upon this thing called the Convergence, which happens once every 5,000 years or so, and all the worlds become aligned. Mm-hmm. And at this time, the Dark Elves, who were not defeated, or at least some of them weren't defeated, wake up, and basically Thor is just Star Wars now.
Pretty much.
It's just Star Wars.
And it has Natalie Portman, so there you go.
Yeah, there you go. And so, they try to get the Ether, and hijinks ensue. Mm-hmm. Thor is just Star Wars now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to be like, magic, technology. I come from a place where they're one and the same. Okay, fine. But now there's like ships and there's like turbo lasers.
Yep.
And guys are shooting blasters at each other. And I'm not saying it's bad, but wow, they like really leaned into that.
Yeah.
What'd you think about that?
I thought it was okay. I mean, I thought it didn't have quite as much of the heart as the first one did.
Well, that's certainly true. You didn't find Darcy's and her interns' hijinks just hilarious?
It was funny. It wasn't
her shtick
like
was thin as
Yes.
Karen Carpenter for me in this one.
Yeah,
like,
it
worked in
wasn't-
the first one, but she could have just not been in this one.
it wasn't as funny as the first one.
Yeah.
And then like her having an intern of her own. Haha.
Ian? She doesn't remember his name. I don't remember his
Something
name.
like that.
Yeah, not really all that great. Honestly, I think we get this we had this exact same thing in Thor Ragnarok. Mm-hmm. Where Thor is just in space. There's spaceships and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so when we establish that the Norse gods are aliens, basically, you're going to get that. Mm-hmm. But I kind of think they should have saved it for Thor 3.
Okay.
It works really well in Thor 3.
Yeah, I think so too.
There are a lot of just like in the first film, there are a lot of amazing visuals in this.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
if you're going to fight this ancient enemy that are elves, you know what I mean? Like they're literally elves. and they have
Yes.
like orc soldiers that help them.
Yeah.
I would have preferred something a little more medieval. They lean into that hard in the first scene, and then that goes away, and it's all just Star
I
Wars
agree.
after that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's bad. I just, since we're going to go full on Dayglow, cyberpunk, space in the third one, just a little less spaceships and
Yeah.
traveling. Thor's flying and pushing buttons and holograms. And it's like, well, this is probably what Walt Simonson had in mind, right?
Yeah. No kidding.
It's directed by Alan Taylor, who has he directed a feature film?
I have no idea.
He is a long time TV director. Most recently, he's directed a lot of Game of Thrones, but he also directed Deadwood, Mad Men, 6 Feet Under, West Wing, every premiere TV show. Oh, he directed Terminator Genisys.
Oh.
So
Oh boy.
not great. Bad Boys, which you can do.
A lot of TV shows.
Yes.
So that's good.
Yes.
But yeah.
The story is by Don Payne, who's the guy that we talked about who did the story from the first one. But the script, a little different this time. It's by Marcus and McFeely,
Okay.
the Captain America
Really?
guys. Yeah, you think it would have been better, right?
Yes.
And also Christopher Yost lends a hand, and he is the guy who has written a lot of comic books. He also helped write Thor Ragnarok, and he wrote Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the cartoon.
You would
The
have thought that
super
it would have been
awesome cartoon.
better.
Yep. I think you fall into that thing where it's like, well, we need a comedy character, and we need jokes.
Yeah.
He's naked, and he's running around. When I said I wanted more Stellan Skarsgård, not what I meant. This is not what I meant. So what do you think? General impressions.
I think it was okay. I think it was a little weak. I think that they underutilized Christopher Eccleston.
Which he's, he hasn't shut up about.
Probably not.
He's a cranky guy.
Yeah.
He's very good.
Which is unfortunate
But
because
he's
he's
very
very
cranky.
talented.
Yeah.
But Malekith, I think, was underutilized as a bad guy.
He's just Ronan, really.
He really is.
Yeah. Although Ronan's better than he is.
Yeah. And he just goes around and is evil, and he's not a full rounded person.
Right.
Or elf, what have you.
Would it interest you to know that Malekith, as created by Walt Simonson, is very much a Joker type character? Do you think that could have worked?
Does interest me. I think that would have made it more
He's
interesting.
kind of Thor's Joker.
That would have made it more interesting to me.
Yeah. Magic, illusions, spells.
Right. And for him to be kind of
space. It's Star
maniacal.
Wars.
Yeah.
There's literally when the warriors are practicing and Thor is just kind of checking it out, they're hitting the swords, and when the swords hit together, they glow like lightsabers, and it's like, guys, this is really extra. You need to just pull it back.
Pull it back.
What do you think about the love triangle?
It wasn't really
Non-existent.
a triangle.
Yeah, no wonder Jamie, what's her name, is like, I'm not doing the third one. Forget
I
it.
know. Well, Lady Sith gave Jane kind of a look at one point.
Yep.
But that was about it.
Yep.
That was the extent of it. And James just kind of like, what? Who's that?
Right.
So, and then Lady Sith later comes and gets Jane.
Well, she
breaks her out.
Yeah.
But not really strong as far as a love triangle.
Other
goes.
than the Star Wars, did this feel a lot like Lord of the Rings to you? There's this thing that's
Kind
super
of.
powerful. They get it away from this guy, this Dark Lord, if you will. Then they're like, we have to destroy it. And it's like, no, let's not destroy it. Let's just sort of like hide it or something.
Yeah.
And then it's found again, and they got to stop this guy. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of Lord of the Rings-ish.
Come on, Marcus and McFeely.
Yeah.
Well, they just got the story from Payne, though, so maybe they didn't have a choice.
Maybe not.
What else? Again, there's like weird cameos in this.
Yeah.
I think people just want to be in a Marvel movie, I guess.
I think so, too.
And so they just like news people, or maybe they just ask like Anderson Cooper.
Yeah.
Anderson Cooper, talk about the convergence or something. So you get like weird things like that.
Yeah.
A lot of it takes place in London.
This is true.
Which they have a whole studio there, so I think a lot of things are shot in London. You just don't know it, but they called out London for this one.
Yeah.
There is a scene at Stonehenge, or a Stonehenge-like thing.
Yes.
Do you think they could have drawn more on the sort of London historical, mystical kind of side?
I think they definitely could have.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then like convergence is all happening over Greenwich, apparently.
Yeah,
So
because the universe runs on mean time.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple things that are kind of borrowed in this. I also noticed the scene. I think it's cool, but the scene where there's that warehouse that's being affected by the convergence,
Yes, the anomaly,
and the kids are there like playing with all the stuff.
Yep.
Feels taken almost directly from one of those shorts in the Animatrix.
Oh.
Whereas there's that place in the Matrix where the kids go, and the rules are bent for some reason. The system's not working right.
Okay.
And so like things float or fly or weird things happen, and the kids like play around and like enjoy it.
Huh.
That's what I was thinking of when I saw that.
Well, that's interesting.
Thief.
And I love how Jane just wanders off and discovers the ether and it
Yep.
goes inside of her.
And it isn't, yeah, and it's not even, it's just circumstance. Again, powerless female characters. It's just circumstance. She's literally a scientist. She's
Yep.
literally here to study this.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that she's like beep, beep, beeping, but it's not like she discovers something and makes some kind of decision based on her science. She's like, oh, I'm detecting this portal and I'm detecting energy and it's closing.
Right.
The smart thing to do would just be, back off. But I want to find out what this is,
Right.
Instead, she's just sucked into it. She has no authority, no agency.
Mm-mm.
And then the Kool-Aid goes in her.
Yep.
And now she's just got Kool-Aid.
And Thor takes her to Asgard because
Yeah.
he's like, we have to help her. And then his dad is like, we're not helping her.
Yep. And then we know she's smart because she keeps like smarting off to all the people. Like,
Yes.
oh, I know what that thing is. That's a something.
Yes.
All right.
Exactly.
Alice Krieg plays the lady who's the doctor that she smarts off to. Another
Yes.
weird cameo. It's
Yeah.
like you're the Borg Queen and you're all these. You've played a lot of like character roles. I would say no. If they offered me that, I'd be like, no, hold out for some. There's got to be
Something
some
else.
weird, greasy female villain that's coming up in one of these things, right?
Right.
She's like the female Andy Serkis.
Yeah. I would have held it off
Okay.
for something else, but
What else?
the Stan Lee cameo happens when Dr. Selvig is teaching convergence at a mental hospital.
Yeah, right.
And he says, yeah, can I have my shoe back?
People who take care of me. Can I have my blood
no.
back?
Oh, no.
Excelsiors. Yeah. Other than that, it's just a bunch of goofy stuff. It seems like they played a lot of Portal, the video game Portal.
Yeah.
And they're like, we can do that. Let's do that. That's cool. But that was probably my favorite part. When they're fighting and like the way that they apply like those fairy tale, like those comic book rules to what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they don't make any sense at all. Like what is the ether? I don't even understand what it's supposed to do.
I don't.
But
I
he
don't
can
know.
shoot it through all the portals at once, and that'll be bad somehow.
Yep.
But now these portals to other places are being created, and so they get knocked over and like thrown into Svartalheim, and a bunch of cars go with them. You know?
Yes.
And then Thor's dropped his hammer, so immediately his hammer's like, shoot, he's calling for me. So it starts to fly into space because apparently like it can't use a portal or doesn't know about the portals.
Right.
So it's going to be like, in 3 million years, Mjolnir will show up. But then he goes back through the portal Earth, and the hammer's like, oh, it turns around and has to fly back down to London.
Yeah.
Like, just that was kind of cool.
That
But
was
it was
cool.
also a neat way to depower Thor for a little bit. Like,
Yep.
now he doesn't have the hammer. Because I don't care how much Kool-Aid you've got in you. Like, can't Thor just hit you with the hammer?
Right.
Like, that would work, right?
Yeah. And at one point he gets on the tube and is like,
Yeah, that was funny. I did
you
like
know,
that part.
how do I get to Greenwich?
It's, yeah,
so
it's
that
just
was
2 stops,
fun.
2 steps down.
Yeah.
Do Dark Elves talk at all besides Malekith and Mr. Echo from Lost? They just have those creepy
Not
doll
really.
faces.
Yeah. It looks like a mask or something.
Yeah.
But it's really creepy. I do like how Loki turns into Cap at one point.
Yeah,
That was kind of
Little
a fun way to
Chris
get
Evans
Chris Evans in there.
cameo. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hopefully they didn't burn a film contract film on that.
Yeah. No kidding.
Apparently, there are pictures of Hiddleston on set in the Captain America uniform. So I think like he did the scene with Hemsworth,
Okay.
doing an impression of Chris Evans. And
Okay.
then Chris Evans did an impression of him doing an impression of Chris Evans.
That sounds awesome.
It just seems like Chris Evans.
Yeah.
I'm not sure all that was worth it, but
Well,
but it's fun.
yeah. It is fun.
What's your rating?
I'm going to give it a 2.5.
Okay.
Yeah. Selvig also throws away his prescription drugs, which is not like the greatest depiction of mental health issues.
Well, I guess he wasn't actually quote unquote crazy.
Yeah.
He was just, but he was acting kind of weird.
He was acting weird.
Maybe it was residuum from having his mind taken over by Loki.
That could be.
Which, doesn't he? I guess he never meets Loki in this, but still.
Right.
I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay.
I don't know what's wrong with me.
Have a little affection for it.
There are elements that I like. The story is 0.
Yeah.
Killing Frigga was brave.
Yeah.
And that scene is beautiful.
It is beautiful.
And having that be the thing that, why do Thor and Loki keep working together?
Right.
Like this time around, it's, for that. And of course, Loki takes advantage of it.
Yes.
And ends up where he ends up.
Yes.
Which you think, oh, that's going to be a big problem. Nope. Next
Not
film,
really.
it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll give it a 3 out of 5. What is your haiku for this film?
My haiku is, the anomaly is out of this world. The ether is terrifying. Jane.
Great. How many syllables is Sharkleberry Red? And we actually have like the opposite of a blue laser in this. We have red goo. So
Oh, yeah, we do.
red goo shoots into the sky.
Yep.
So explain that one. You can't. Let's move on to Cap 2, Cap Boogaloo.
Yep.
Captain America: The Winter Soldier, 2014. Yep. Walking into this film, what'd you expect?
I expected something similar to the first Avenger, with, Cap kind of showing off what he can do and all that sort of thing. I did not expect what we got, which was like a super intense spy thriller type thing.
Right.
And that S.H.I.E.L.D. was corrupt and actually Hydra.
Yeah.
And
you didn't expect to have your balls blown off.
no, I did not.
We didn't talk about the end credits scene. We don't have to do the Iron Man one, but of Thor: The Dark World.
Oh.
You can count it out, but this is sort of the midpoint, I think, of the phases at this point. And so this is where they're really leaning into the idea of the Infinity Stones.
Yes.
And so we've got them...
Sith and...
Yep.
What's his name?
Volstagg.
Volstagg.
In a scene directed by James Gunn.
Oh, okay.
Dropping them off with the Collector.
Yep.
Which is like, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
But really clunky.
It is.
And it leaves you going like, what?
And which Infinity Stone are they dropping off?
The Ether.
The Ether?
Yeah.
Is an Infinity Stone.
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
What do you think 1 down, 5 to go meant?
I knew he was collecting them. I just didn't know what the stone was, because I knew it wasn't the Tesseract. So
Right. They had to give it to him because you don't want to keep two in the same place.
Right.
Because this vault that gets broken into 4 times a week is not very safe. So anyway, and like, is the Collector collecting them for Thanos?
Or himself.
Or himself?
I think he's doing it for himself.
Okay,
because he's the collector.
Yeah, he does go after the orb.
Yes.
But we'll find out that it's because Thanos is making him do it, right?
Maybe.
I don't know. I hope Benicio comes back.
I hope so too.
I haven't seen the word on that. Anyway, yeah, balls not on the body anymore. Yeah, I was totally blown away by the Winter Soldier, and I think it remains my... Oh, what do I do again? I think the Winter Soldier is the best Marvel film.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like Guardians is my favorite Marvel film, or is it the other way around?
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll talk about Guardians in a second.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's very good.
It is very good.
And not at all what you would have expected. Of course, this is the debut of the Russo brothers into the universe in a screenplay by Marcus and McFeely. And, of course, plenty of more weird cameos.
Yes.
Gary Shandling is back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sitwell's in this.
Yes.
And then he's not in the world anymore.
Nope.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Danny Pudi's in it.
Yep.
For some reason.
Because the Russo brothers.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Why.
Exactly. They remember where they came from.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you give us a plot summary of this one?
Well, Cap is dismayed with Fury because he feels like the helicarriers are a little bit much, and that it's fear and not freedom that they're promoting.
Yeah.
And he tells Fury so, and Fury is very much like, well, it's called compartmentalizing. We just, we don't tell everybody everything. So, but Cap is a little dismayed with that. But then things really get going when Fury gets attacked by police and SWAT, but it's not really police and SWAT.
Right.
And basically, we find out that S.H.I.E.L.D. is Hydra, and has been for some time. Basically, our characters realize that they're not safe, and they need to be kind of watching their backs. And
right. You forgot a pretty major part.
What did I forget? The Winter Soldier?
The titular character.
Yes, the Winter Soldier. So Bucky is in this. And he's kind of their secret weapon that they bring out. And he shoots at Fury's car, and it flips over.
You're going to go blow by blow in the fight scenes?
No, but the fight scenes are really cool in this.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really well thought out. They're really well choreographed. They're some of my favorite fight scenes, I think, in any of the Marvel movies.
And in a film where nobody has powers,
yes,
they do that thing that when comic book fight scenes are done well, is really great, which is like that you get from like a Chris Claremont X-Men fight scene, where everybody has things they can do. They have powers and strengths and weaknesses, and they're all using them to the best of their ability.
Yes.
And in this case, it's just this guy does this with bullets, and this person does this with bullets.
Yep.
And so it's like I didn't like Wanted, but like if Wanted was good, it would be something like this.
Yep.
It would be like, we're all bullet magicians, and so let's see how that works out.
Right.
Yeah. Pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to wonder, well, when you think about a director has a team.
Yes.
You have people that they work with.
Yeah.
And so I want to say that the Russos did a really good job in planning all that out. Now, maybe they didn't plan it all out specifically, but whoever did it for them or whoever's on their team, their name's on the label. So good job, Russos.
Yep.
And I think that continues into Civil War.
I think so, too.
We'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, you get the first real big Claremont-esque fight scene between superheroes in Civil War. Yeah, but that is great in this. If you had said, hey, we're going to take a 3 Days of the Condor type 70s spy conspiracy movie, and that's going to be our next Captain America movie, it'd be like, okay, all right.
Right.
That feels more like a Nick Fury or a Black Widow movie to me.
Yep.
We know how we feel about that.
Yep.
But, yeah, you did it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was their touchstone. I think 3 Days of the Condor was their touchstone from the beginning. And it worked.
Yeah.
And we get some big revelations that don't really matter, I guess, in the movies. They made S.H.I.E.L.D. a little fun for the first season. But yeah, finding out that S.H.I.E.L.D. is infiltrated by Hydra. We get Toby Jones comes back as a computer.
Yes.
And kind of gets the last laugh. That one guy from Derek Comedy is in it. What's his name? DC... Anyway, one of the guys from Derek Comedy is in this. I can't remember
his name.
I've been Aaron.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
We get like a little I'm a kind of a Widow Cap shipper.
I am too.
Yeah.
And they're not an item.
No, and he's the main character, but she's the foil in this.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like we see... Because he's Captain America. He's never going to make the wrong decision. He's always going to be the good guy. He's going to be the man without a country, if he has to. But it starts off with her being morally ambivalent, doubling down on it by saying, like, you want to stay alive and be in this world, this is what we have to do.
Yep.
You have to be somebody else. You have to be careful with your loyalties. You have to lie. Mm-hmm. And we see this arc from her go to the end where she's the one who gives all the secrets away. Do you know what I mean? And like opens up everything and realizes that that's the only way through. Because she could have just gone, oh, I guess I work for Hydra now. Blam, blam.
Right.
Kill Falcon, kill Cap. You know what I mean? Like she's somebody who's throughout her career has let her loyalty shift just because whoever's paying the bill, you know?
Yeah.
But she has, I would argue, a bigger character arc, you know, or turn than Cap does.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
What'd you think about Sebastian Stan as Bucky, the winner Bucky?
I thought he did a good job. Sebastian Stan is kind of he's not the greatest actor in my estimation.
We certainly he's not allowed to let his range show.
I mean, his character is kind of stilted.
What?
He's
a mind-controlled assassin.
Yeah, I know. And I think we get to see more from him in later films. Like in Civil War, I think we get to see more of his character develop. But in this, he's just kind of like the bad guy.
Right.
So, I mean...
And a devastating bad guy. I mean, you mentioned when he blows up Nick Fury, but every time he shows up, you know, like, all right, this is not...
real.
Yeah, people are going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we do see him getting tortured at one point.
Yeah.
And like they're going to brainwash him and stuff like that. So he's definitely a bad guy that you can have sympathy for because he's obviously not doing all of this. It's not his choice necessarily.
Yeah. That was the one thing that I had questions about that I'm not sure worked. Like, brainwashing is brainwashing. He's been tortured or reprogrammed or whatever. But at one point, Robert Redford, who we've somehow taken this long to mention.
Yeah.
Great casting, by the way.
Yes.
Making him the bad guy in one of these conspiracy movies.
Yep.
But anyway, having him, he makes this plea to Bucky after punching him about how, like, this is the mission. We're going to make the world better, and these people are in the way. You know, sort of like we're not like evil. Like, we're doing the right thing. It's a tough thing, but it's the right thing.
Right.
And if he's just a programmed assassin, why do you have to make any kind of plea to him at all? Right.
True.
So I don't really understand how they're manipulating him. Like, he doesn't remember that he's Bucky, but like, what does he think that he is? He's just somebody
soldier.
Every time he wakes up, people's hairstyles are different. And does he ask any questions? I guess not. Yeah. All right, it works. Never mind. It's brainwashed. We haven't even started to cut a check yet and talk about
Falcon,
the revelation in this movie, the best part.
He's pretty great.
The real discovery in this.
Yeah. On your left.
Yeah.
Pretty great. Falcon is just, he's what we need. He's the answer to Cap, you know.
Well, Cap's got a black friend now.
Right. But he's got a friend who
says that he's backwards and from the 40s.
Right. He's got a friend who's very loyal to him.
Right.
And who can be what Bucky isn't right now.
Right.
And just the bonds to him like really quickly. And
I thought it was a stroke of brilliance to have him be a VA counselor.
Yes.
Because, you know, even though, I mean, Cap's experiences are different than somebody who went to Afghanistan or whatever, but that's literally what Cap is experiencing. Like, he's lost his entire world. You know, he's woken up in the 21st century and everything he knows is gone, and his girlfriend is 1,000,000 years old and has dementia or whatever.
Right.
And so it's not that, like, he lost a friend. You know, I don't know if they had IEDs in World War II.
Right.
If Hydra used IEDs, but he needs somebody like that, you know? And so, and that's his arc in this film, is that he is back in the world. Like, what would you do if you lost everything? You'd throw yourself into your work.
Yes.
And so now he's like the world's most amazing
soldier.
Covert soldier. You know, took the red out of his costume. It's just gray and blue now.
Yep.
And he kicks guys off of ships.
Oh my God, I know.
He definitely murdered a bunch of people in this film.
Well, he jumps out of a plane without a parachute.
Right.
In this film. And we go right into this cool fight scene on a boat.
Yeah.
Which is just awesome.
Yeah. and he's getting it done.
Yeah.
But you get the sense that like he's he doesn't know what to do with himself. He doesn't have a purpose. His life is empty. And by the end of the film, he's got a purpose. Which is to find Bucky.
Yes.
Clearly, but is also to to not be a soldier anymore. Not to be a tin soldier at least.
Right. Not to file.
This is a
follow
comic book
somebody,
movie.
like blindly. I know, but there's so much stuff in here, and it's just really well done too.
I'm also a Cap and Rumlow shipper, or at least Rumlow is. Do you think that if I ever meet Frank Grillo, and it's possible, I go to cons.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask him if like he was playing it like he's in love with Cap.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I could see it.
Because he's just clearly he has such like that scene where he jumps out of the thing and the guy's like, "Does he have a parachute?" And he's like, "No, he didn't." And like he's just like, "Are you okay to jump with that boner, sir?" And then when he isn't on board for the hydroplan or whatever, it's almost like he's you jilted me.
Right.
I'm gonna make you pay for breaking my heart.
Well, and I love like how Cap is visiting Agent Carter, and he said, knowing that you helped form S.H.I.E.L.D. was one of the reasons I stayed.
Yeah.
That was pretty great. I love the fight scene in the elevator.
Yep.
Where he's like, before we get started, does anybody want to get off?
Yeah.
Pretty great.
And Cap's like, he's a smart guy, but as this elevator fills up, it just gets worse and worse.
It's like all these clues.
Yeah, right. These thugs get on. The next floor down, a bunch of guys with tomahawks and headdresses. And the next floor down, Dracula gets into the elevator. It's like, okay, well, something's going on here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, that's so iconic, and of course recreated on Community with Dean Pelton in the paintball episode.
Yep.
I don't even know what else to say.
The Stan Lee cameo was him at the Smithsonian,
yes,
and realizing that Cap's uniform has been stolen, and he said, "I'm so fired."
Yeah, probably the best and most effective and like cutest Stan Lee cameo, I think.
I think so too.
I'm trying to think like how to compare. I mean, there's so many of them, but yeah, that was a good one. What else?
What's Bucky's arm made out of?
I don't know.
Because it's not vibranium.
And is it like, because they show in the flashback that he's got it while Zola's working on him before Zola becomes a robot guy or whatever.
Right.
So it's at least 1970s technology.
Yeah.
So it's like old. Yeah. It would be kind of cool if it was like kind of steampunky.
It would be cool.
Steampunky. But yeah, I mean, whatever it is, it works really well.
Did the Russians work on him too?
Apparently the Russians have a real great cybernetics program.
Because like Zola is German or Austrian.
It makes sense in the comic, kind of.
Okay.
Because what is it, like Minister Zhukov or something like that is like his handler.
Okay.
And I don't think Zola's even involved.
Okay.
But they just made it Zola in this.
All right. Well.
Good?
I am good. I love the scene where Cap and Black Widow are at the mall, and she's like, "Kiss me." So public displays of affection make people really uncomfortable, and he's like, "Yeah, they do."
Yeah, they do. I was like, "Are they on a date? Is this a date for Black Widow?" Because she's like, "Put your arm around me," and then she's like, "Kiss me."
I know.
Wait a minute. Does he know that she's got him on a date? Is this a date for her?
I know.
Yeah. Boy, I mean, I could go along or keep talking about this forever.
Yeah.
Ed Brubaker, the writer of the Winter Soldier, or creator of the Winter Soldier, appears in that scene where they're brainwashing him.
Oh, really?
He's the guy with the bow tie who's like, we've given him too much or something like that. It's a fun little cameo.
That is fun.
I also liked how we've seen that the new thing now, because we know that there are no credits at the beginning, is they have to run the credits at the end.
Yeah.
And before they do the scrolling credits, we do the titles, they have some computer graphic sort of showcase type thing.
Yep.
And I thought this one worked really well.
I thought it did,
and it was
too.
very fitting for those older kind of films. It had like a Saul Bass feel to it, you know, just the elements of the film, and it was like 3D as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really neat.
I agree. I really enjoyed it.
We'll talk about one a little later that was not that great.
Okay.
We're getting there. So, what was your rating?
I'm going to give it 5 out of 5.
Yeah. I believe I'm going to give it 5 as well. No surprise there.
No.
Anything else to say? Your
my
haiku, please.
Shield is corrupt. Hydra has been hiding in plain sight for years. Cap discovered.
Cap discovered.
Cap discovered. Yes,
Okay.
I should have worded that a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah.
No blue lasers.
No blue lasers.
Nope. But about 1 million bullets and bombs and rockets
Yep.
blowing up the carriers.
Yep. And none of them necessarily say Stark, but I bet they say Stark.
Well, yeah. Stark-esque. Yeah, and then, of course, the end credit scene is
The
twins.
Oh my gosh. Oh yes, that's right. The twins.
Yes. Introducing Baron von Strucker to this universe.
Yes.
Who is very important in the comics and is a big nobody, dumbo, nothing in these films.
Which is unfortunate.
Yep. But how many bad guys? Well, actually, you need villains.
Yeah.
So it would have been nice to have a villain.
It would have been nice. Would have been nice for him to stick around for a little while.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
No.
Gets off in 2 movies from now.
Yep.
Let's talk about the movie after this.
Yep.
It's Guardians of the Galaxy
Yep.
from 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Directed by James Gunn. Written by James Gunn and Nicole Perlman. Other than that, I mean, it's not based on a story or anything. It's just based on the comic books, basically.
Yep.
Based mainly on the Abnett and Lanning versions of the characters from the sort of Annihilation storyline, that whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. What do we know about Guardians of the Galaxy? Oh, wait a minute. It's mine.
Okay.
It's my recap.
All right.
A young boy, Peter Quill, is kidnapped from Earth when he's 10 years old and taken into the galaxy, where he grows up and becomes a roguish, ragtag, mercenary-type character. He gets involved in a plot to get a stone of power, which turns out to be an Infinity Stone, by Ronan the Accuser, who is a powerful Kree warlord, and he has to learn to find the hero within him and fight his sort of baser impulses while working together with a ragtag team of aliens.
Yep.
The Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep.
Did anybody see this coming?
I don't think anybody did.
We should talk. Let's
I
talk
think-
money.
Okay.
We should talk. So talk more bucks. Let's just back up one on 177 million budget. Wow,
That's a lot.
that's a lot for that was Winter Soldier, by the way.
Okay.
It made 714 million.
Okay.
That's called a profit.
Yep.
And Guardians of the Galaxy was slightly lower. I think it was. Oh no, I'm wrong. It was about $200 million.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it made 773 million.
Okay.
So
Great.
they're all successes. None
Yep.
of them are failures.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when this was announced, people were like, "Okay, all right."
Well, nobody knew how much
I
a
knew.
movie. Okay, but with a talking tree and a talking raccoon, like
Lots of
how
things that
well is
shouldn't
that
talk
going to
in
happen?
this.
Yeah.
Like Zoe Saldana. Boom!
Whoa.
All right, let's keep moving.
That was cruel.
This was shot almost entirely in England
Okay.
at Shepperton Studios. And yeah, this was the one where everybody went, all right, you've gone too far, Marvel. And they keep saying that, and it's never true.
No.
Although I think Captain Marvel will prove to be the one.
You think so?
It's too far, but that's my
Okay.
opinion. Captain Marvel is shaping up to be a prequel to Guardians of the Galaxy at this point.
Yep.
As it will feature Ronan
Ronan
the
the
Accuser,
Accuser.
and related characters. So everybody thought, wow, what a gamble, talking raccoon.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody knew how huge this would be.
Yeah.
And it was huge.
It was definitely huge.
Everybody in the world knows who Groot is now.
Yeah. I am Groot.
Yes. Aborigines in the Outback know who Groot is. So it's a pretty big deal. Your thoughts on the film?
I love this film. It's so much fun.
I don't think I even have any notes.
Okay. That's okay. It's a romp. It's, you can just tell that everybody's having fun filming this.
Well, I mean, it's a romp, but it's so tightly. I would say tightly plotted. I mean, it's just perfect. There are no loose ends.
Yeah.
Like it is and it comes from 2 screenwriters.
Yep.
Nicole Perlman created the framework, but apparently Gunn kind of rewrote it from scratch, or at least a lot of it. And yet everything works so well and pays off so well.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got so many weird elements coming in. It's a prison movie for
Yep.
the second half of the first act.
Yep.
Just the phrase, the second half of the first act. It
Yep.
doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like Star Wars for like the last act.
Yeah.
And you bring in all these other characters, and like, what is all this?
Yeah.
And it takes place on such an epic scale. It's what Thor: The Dark World could have been.
Yes.
If they really wanted to lean into the space and aliens and Star Wars thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes Star Wars look like, what are you even doing?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
It's just really well done. The soundtrack is really great and it plays a really big part in the film.
Yeah.
Because it's Peter Quill's great. What is it even
The
called?
Awesome Mix?
Awesome Mix Volume 1.
Right.
From his mom.
Right.
And the songs are prevalent throughout the rest of the film.
Yeah.
And are great. The opening sequence is fantastic. It's Quill as Star-Lord dancing around to Redbone, and
Yeah.
it's very amusing. He kicks lizards, and it's somehow funny.
Well, they're like lizard rat type things.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't anything new. He's just Indiana Jones, basically, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not anything
But
new
like
to have a amoral kind of hero with a heart of gold.
Yeah.
But they do it. They reinvent it again. They
They
do
make
it
him
like it's never
funny.
been done before. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it works. And I like the idea of just such. I mean, he's not a hero. I mean, he becomes a hero,
Right.
and that's his arc in the film.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the idea that he's kidnapped as a kid and he's raised by like these horrible people, like Ravagers
Yes.
or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically is just like a 36-year-old child still.
Yes.
Like he's immature and he's venal and he's just not like a great guy.
Right.
And he's obsessed with people calling him Star-Lord,
Yes.
which has an amazing payoff in the film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, he somehow unites these people
Yes.
because he loves John Stamos
Yes.
or whatever. Some of the references don't quite work.
No. A great hero named Kevin Bacon.
Well, yeah, that worked pretty good. Who put the sticks up their butt? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go on forever.
Yep.
Should we?
I don't know. The Stan Lee cameo is Rocket basically saying, "Look at Mr. Smiles over here.
Right.
Where's your wife, old man? What a class A prevert." Prevert.
Is he the same guy that cuts Thor's hair in Thor Ragnarok?
Maybe.
Are they the same guy?
That could be. That's an interesting question.
Did he end up on Grandmaster's planet after this, and now he's cutting hair?
I could see that being a thing.
I don't know. Just thought maybe that's the thing.
Huh.
Yeah. Ratings. We didn't really say all that much. I don't know what to say. It's just it's perfect.
It's a great movie.
Well, I'll say this: the world building is amazing, because there are crazy things. But again, you establish the rules of this thing, and because it's this way, then we have to do this. And so we go to this giant severed head or whatever that everybody lives in.
Nowhere.
And we're trying to escape, and we've came up with this idea of we've taken these like forklifts basically to fight these guys,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're trying to get away and we leave, but the forklifts aren't supposed to be out there because they don't have good engines and they have limited air.
Yep.
And then one of the characters, the thing blows up, and then we're put in a situation where, well, she's dead, so that's too bad. We got to go back and deal with other stuff. And one of the characters is like, well, tried to save her, and that leads to more complications because the Ravagers grab them.
Yep.
And then Rocket and the other guys, after a kind of inspiring speech, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
they show up and say they're going to blow up the ship
Yep.
if they don't give him back. And then they're like, yeah, we did a good job. They're like, what are you talking about? If you'd blown up the ship, that's not saving me. I would have been dead.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but the world building though, like there's a cheap thing that they totally validate where we're about halfway through the movie. We need a confrontation, so Drax just calls the bad guy.
I
And
know.
he just shows up, which is, if you're reading that like in a script, you go, all right, come on.
Yeah.
But there's this little side scene where he gets pissed and leaves like the gathering or whatever.
Yep.
And then we just see this guy. We don't know who this guy is. He's just some guy who works and he's making some order over, and it's clear that he has like a communications device.
Yep.
Because he's talking on this screen that's like flashing on his face, and he's ordering Quarnix batteries or something that they mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
And then he grabs the guy and he's like, "You're gonna make a call for me." And,
Yeah.
and it's just like this little scene that wouldn't have to be anything.
Yep.
It's like the thing with the guy. They have that runner with the guy that steals his Walkman or whatever.
Yes.
And we get
That's such a great scene.
He steals it, and then he gets to go take it back from him.
Yep.
To Pina Colada song.
Yes.
And yeah, just, the movie, it sets a thing up and it goes, we're going to trust us. We're coming back to this.
Yep.
And you're going to love it. And it does it. Yeah. 5.
Yeah.
5 out
5
of
for
5.
me as well. One of my favorite scenes still is when Groot sacrifices himself and he creates this cocoon for them in the ship that's crashing, and that going into Peter like doing the dance off, and then for Ronan the Accuser, and then him getting shot and the ingot, the Infinity Stone being blasted out.
Right.
And then Peter holding on to it, and then all of them one by one reaching for each other.
Yeah.
That gets me like every time.
They're stronger together.
Yeah.
I mean, they're stronger. I mean, but it's like
yeah,
literally.
But it's so well done.
Yeah. It's literally made physical, and manifest in the fact that they need to stand together to make this work.
Yes.
Said it yourself, bitch.
Yes.
Guardians
of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Was the cameo? You said the cameo already. He was the guy that's the Class A prevert.
Yes.
No blue lasers.
No blue lasers.
Although Ronan shoots blue lasers out of his hammer, or like purple lasers, I guess.
Yeah, purple lasers.
Instead of a blue laser, there was a giant yellow net made of thousands of ships.
Yes.
And at the very height of, I think it was after the DVD release, where it's like, clickbait, we got to write about Guardians of the Galaxy, get people to click on our site. Somebody made the point that like it's the movie with the most on-screen deaths in history or something like that. Just assuming
really
that
is.
every one of the pilots in those ships dies.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like thousands of people in those ships or whatever.
Yes.
So I don't know how you feel about that.
It's really disheartening. But
also, if you include the planet that the Celestial destroys with the stone, just assuming that everybody on that planet is.
That's true.
But what about Alderaan? Star Wars has it, right?
Yeah.
What about Force Awakens? The
Yeah.
Hosnian system, like every single planet blows up.
That's true. That's true.
What about the hopes and dreams of every Star Wars fan with The Last Jedi? No, apparently some people like it. I don't know. We're not doing that right now. So your haiku.
Thanos is scary as hell. The Guardians of the Galaxy are worthy.
To pick up the hammer?
They might be. Maybe. Groot, maybe.
Groot, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. So, well.
But he dies.
Well,
because as we've learned, baby Groot is his child.
Right.
It's not a continuation of him.
Whatever. Don't really get into that. Yeah, I guess. Well, speaking of hammers, let's talk about a movie that Thor is in.
Yep.
Age of Ultron.
Yep.
From 2015.
Oh, did we give a rating to Guardians?
I said 5.
I said 5.
Okay.
Okay.
This one is directed by Joss Whedon from a script by Joss Whedon.
Yep.
And it is the second Avengers movie.
Yep.
Cost $316 million.
Holy cow.
I think that's budget with P&A. But it made $1.4 billion.
Wow.
I think it remains I think Panther beat it. For a while, it was the third biggest movie ever. Now I think Black Panther has beaten that.
Yep.
What else to say? Well, why don't you give us a quick synopsis of this film as a whole, not the individual scenes. What happens in the film?
Well,
Robert California from The Office decides that
at the very beginning, the Avengers are fighting together to get Loki's scepter back.
Okay, so again, you're talking about what's happening in individual scenes.
Okay.
What is the main conflict?
The main conflict is Tony and Banner kind of unwittingly create intelligent artificial life. They create Ultron, and they want it to be like a peacekeeper-like program.
Right.
But this Ultron is very different from their intentions. And he likes blowing up things and thinks humans are kind of ridiculous and superfluous. So he takes things into his own hands and becomes a menace, and a force that the Avengers need to team together to fight.
Right. Yeah.
That's basically
basically it. And he's fast and she's weird.
Yeah.
This is a long movie.
It is long movie.
141 minutes.
Yeah.
Too long.
Yeah, I would say so.
It's just way too long. I have to think of more to say than that.
Yeah.
I mean, the original Avengers was pretty long.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I think the Avengers was longer.
Really?
But it doesn't feel like it.
No, it doesn't.
This feels long.
It does feel long.
What do I want to say about Age of Ultron? This is where the Joss Whedon thing goes. It's too much.
Yep.
It's too much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he was holding back in the Avengers or had oversight, but it's too Whedon-y.
Okay.
You get that thing that we talk about with Brian Azzarello as a comic writer where it's like, can anybody finish their own sentences?
Yes.
It's always like somebody has to say, well, it's kind of like the early bird gets the worm. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Am I a worm? Or what? It's like, everybody's got a clever line. The dialogue is coming fast and furious.
Mm-hmm.
And there should be time for more emotional introspection. There are a lot of big things that get dropped in this.
Yes.
And one of the characters in this movie specifically makes the characters confront their deepest fears, their dark sides, their what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And instead it's just like, quip it, quip, 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 quip. Quip it over here, quip it over there,
yep.
Quip it over there, quip it over here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a lot of that. And
yep.
it's like it becomes aggressive and weighty. It pulls the movie down, I think.
Yeah.
I never understand what exactly Tony Stark is trying to do. They have this speech where he sells it like, I want a suit of armor around the world. Sounds like a cold world. All right, geez, we get it. You're clever.
Right.
But I never really, but it's all rushed. Apparently he was working on a program called Ultron, which would be like a souped up Jarvis.
Yep.
But then they get the staff, and because we need it to be this way in the movie, it turns out that the staff had an Infinity Stone in it.
Yep.
That was the Mind Stone, but the Mind Stone is also like an alien AI.
Yep.
So you say that he created Ultron. I don't consider him to be responsible for that.
You don't?
No, because apparently there was this malevolent intelligence in there already. I mean, he connected it to something that gave it the opportunity to do something. But,
yep.
You know, I mean, something would have happened anyway.
I guess
What were they going to do with the staff? Somebody would have
know.
broken it open, found that thing in there, and started playing with it.
I guess so.
It just happened to wake up in a place where there are a bunch of robot suits that it could use to try to fight them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's weird. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Where's Betty Banner? Or Betty Ross, or whatever you want to call her? Where's Liv Tyler?
I don't know.
Whedon invents this romance between Black Widow
and
or Natasha and Bruce.
Yeah.
Which I'm not against necessarily, but this guy's got a wife, right?
I thought he did.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Wasn't that, or was her name Veronica after the suit?
Okay, well, let's just do it now.
Okay.
Here's why I know that that's stupid.
Okay.
And it's just too quippy, and Whedon he opened the throttle up too much on trying to be real clever. The Hulkbuster program is named Veronica.
Yep.
And I remember we talked to Chris Claremont himself in 2015. This is right after, like, the week that Ultron came out.
Yeah.
He hadn't seen it yet. And we were talking about it, and he was asking me, like, if it was good and what I thought. And at one point I was like, yeah, they're the Hulkbusters in it, and it's called Veronica. And he's like, why? I'm like, well, because, like, his wife is Betty, so this is, like, Veronica, the other girl.
Yeah,
and
gotcha.
Chris Claremont's like, that's stupid. I'm like, you know what? You're right, Chris Claremont. That is stupid. There's no reason for it.
No.
It doesn't matter.
No.
That being said, the Hulkbuster sequence, that's something you build a movie around.
Yeah.
And they clearly did.
Yeah.
Like, that's what happens at the middle of the movie.
And that was a pretty strong sequence.
That was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Except Tony can't shut up during it. He keeps
No.
making all these dumb quips and jokes. And it's like, just shut up. Just fight. Show me that you are concerned, that you are fighting for your life and the life of all the people in this unnamed African country. That's not Wakanda. It's not Wakanda. It just undercuts the tension at every point. Like, this is really... We got an evil Hulk here.
Yep.
This is the worst thing that could... This is worse than Ultron. This is the worst thing that could have happened.
That's true.
But the whole sequence, they show how much the effects guys, I guess, thought about this, is the design of that whole Hulkbuster system is awesome. Because except for the fact that he doesn't have any way to really stop the Hulk.
No.
So the armor is to make sure that he can survive in a fight with the Hulk.
Yep.
But what's the plan to stop the Hulk?
Well, he's punching him repeatedly, like, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
Right. So funny. You think that you're going to beat the Hulk by punching him?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
No.
Like, if you punch him, I assume that's going to make him mad.
Yeah.
And the madder he gets, the stronger he
is.
You're never going to beat the Hulk that way.
No.
Having the armor is just to make sure that you can exact whatever plan. Now, what's the plan? I'm not holding this up as something that should be done or repeated, but, you know, in the Ang Lee film, they can restrain him, but they shoot him with, like, foam or something like that, right?
Okay.
So it, like, they treat it realistically. Like, okay, you have muscles that can lift a mountain or whatever, but you still need leverage. If you can't move your arms, you can't bring your strength into play.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no plan. At one point he sprays him with some gas, and I don't know if it's like knockout gas or something, or if it's just the fire suppression unit, you know, it's trying to distract him. But yeah, you think that ultimately he literally drops an entire building on him and that works, but pretty extreme. Like you can't dig a big hole or make a wormhole or something or freeze him in time.
Right.
I know these are all sci-fi things, but you're going to punch him. That's the plan.
Right.
To beat the Hulk. You're going to punch the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's the plan.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But just like, the design of it was cool. The idea that there's a satellite and that in fighting the Hulk, you know, he's going to damage the suit and ablate parts of it. So there's this satellite there that's available to give more parts, you know, and like rebuild the suit like in the middle of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
The cage thing drops on him.
Yes.
And it's clear that the cage isn't meant to
hold him for very long.
No, it's just there to, you know, because we see when we finally see the Hulkbuster assembling, the last couple parts are coming on, and you're like, oh, this would take a minute or so for this thing to build up.
Mm-hmm.
And the Hulk would just snap you in two if you tried to put this on in front of him. So it's just to keep him there so you can put this thing on and then not have a plan. Hit him with an elevator. That seemed to work pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway.
Pretty okay.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yep.
And also, Tony doesn't watch Dragon Ball Z because the first thing you do is like fly out of the city.
Yes.
Take the fight to that empty plane where all the ships were.
He was
or something.
trying to get him out of the city, and then he fell.
Yeah. There's that sequence where and then the Hulk's punching him, and the Hulk like pushes him into that building.
Yep.
And they fly up the side of the building, and the building is all mirrored glass. So they're breaking the mirrors as they fly. That's all CG. That's the thing where you go, let's do the toughest thing that we could do. Let's do a thing that would be almost impossible to get right, and they got it right. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's an amazing sequence.
Yeah, it is.
But that's your plan?
Yeah, I know.
Punch the Hulk.
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. They have a party at the beginning where everybody kind of kiddingly tries to lift Thor's hammer.
Right.
And Cap is the one who comes the closest to it. Right. And Thor looks a little nervous.
Yeah. That's why Cap won't die until he lifts Mjolnir.
All right.
That's my theory. You're not into that.
No, I'm into it.
Right.
The Stan Lee cameo is at the party, and Thor is saying something about like a drink, like it's really, really hardcore and like will knock you out. And he says, neither was it Omaha Beach, Blondie.
Right.
Stop scaring us. And then later he says Excelsior, and he's drunk.
Excelsior.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Stanley wasn't on Omaha Beach.
No.
Jack Kirby was.
Yeah.
Well, like the day after the invasion, but
Okay.
still. Yeah. Well, okay. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's probably his most involved cameo. That or the haircut scene from Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Where he actually has an exchange with somebody.
Yes.
What else? Everybody's so quippy.
Yeah.
I can't stop. Fury comes back to kind of little fanfare.
Yeah.
Like he fakes his death. We assume that he's going to go do something. Mm-hmm. And he comes back. No, it leads to the cool thing where he gets the old helicarrier out and they save all the people in Sokovia.
Well, and Stark has this quippy line like, "You're not the director of me."
Yeah.
Which was pretty great.
Of course, before that, he says, "Hello, dear," to a John Deere tractor. And it's like, I want to just jump through the screen and just kill you. Or if I was a woman, you could just, passively aggressively berate me. And
Oh, boy.
it's good to have him. It's good he's taking a break.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah, I mean, the Sokovia sequence at the end is an amazing example of, you just think about the direction and having to conceive of how this is all going to come together.
Yeah.
The million little shots that you need to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing achievement.
It is.
But it just feels, after a while, it's like, we're still doing this. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of going on for a while.
Yeah.
And for all the thing that happens in Civil War, where it's like, it's all our fault, that we dropped a building on a guy. They go out of their way to save every last person. They save Booby Mom and her little dumb kid. They save everybody.
Yeah.
That's their first and most important goal. Is
Yep.
they get everybody off of Sokovia before that thing blows up.
Yep.
So, what do you want?
And
Just trying to help here.
Yeah, and then they blow it up, the part of the city that's
Well,
they're trying to save everybody below.
Right.
I guess my one other thing is Black Widow, her graduation ceremony from the Red Room.
Yeah.
They sterilize you. It's problematic.
The movie Red Sparrow is problematic, is what you're saying?
Yeah. The actual Black Widow movie is...
Look, it's one of those things that you're never going to... There's no way to explain it and make it work.
I know.
I think
And she says she's a monster.
I understand. Right. But it's not... She's talking about the fact that she's
a killing machine.
A killer and an assassin.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it's just... It doesn't go together well.
No.
It's easy to get that out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And, hey, save some for the Black Widow movie that you're never going to do.
Right.
But anyway, it's nice to see some background on her.
Yeah, it is.
As far as, we never get to see Hawkeye's demons because...
That's true.
He doesn't have any, apparently.
Apparently not.
What do you think of the continued... What's the verb even? What they're doing to Hawkeye or what Whedon has done to Hawkeye? First movie, he totally sidelines him.
Yeah.
But not, because we see him do cool stuff. He's just, murdering people.
Right.
Under mind control.
Yep.
And in this film, it's like, all right, well, is he going to be sidelined? Is he going to be killed? They're clearly, teasing that.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that he's married to Freaks and Geeks.
Yep.
And he's got like a farmhouse and he's got a totally normal life.
Yep. I think it's an interesting choice. Nobody else in the Avengers has a quote-unquote normal life.
Right.
So why not give that to Hawkeye?
Well, he doesn't have his own movie.
No,
so it's
he
not like,
doesn't.
we'll go, yeah.
Right.
Although Hawkeye just like picking his kids up from a soccer game, and that could be a good movie.
It could be a good movie for sure. Or he could be part of the Black Widow movie. Easily.
Yeah.
Could be a Black Widow and Hawkeye movie. And it would just be about, two
Budapest.
assassins. Yeah. Exactly. I think it's okay. I think it's a strong choice to making Hawkeye the family guy. It means he has more at stake and more to lose in some ways than everybody else when he goes out fighting. I mean, Stark has Pepper, but later on, they're not together anymore.
And then they are.
Yeah.
I don't know. What about James Spader?
I think he did a great job as Ultron.
He's the guy that you would never make that decision.
No.
You hear about it and you're like, what?
Right.
And then...
Because he's a comedian, really.
Well, no.
Kind of.
Well, no.
No?
No, I think that he's doing a Goldblum-esque turn in his later career by being a funny guy when he was like a real serious guy that was in like weird movies, like Sex, Lies, and Videotape and stuff like that before.
Okay.
But now he's turned that into, I'm the Lizard King. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
I feel like the Ultron arc, or the whole concept of the Ultron thing, works on paper, but for some reason falls apart on screen.
Yeah.
I think that all the factors are there to make Ultron. Every villain thinks they're the hero, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's all there, because and they have all these scenes where it's like, I just want to do my job, and that's make the world peaceful because everybody's dead.
Right.
What? Or like he's, he apparently has real affection for the twins.
Mm-hmm.
I guess because he sort of sees them, as kindred spirits.
Because
they've all lost
they're all
something.
against Stark.
Well, that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you have a character that's just fully motivated by hatred of their father figure.
Right.
I mean, it's not that. Is that the good guy? Probably not.
Probably not.
Or like when he, faces Vision, like he's really sad because he's like, oh, that was supposed to be me.
Right.
This guy's just taking everything from me. It's like,
right.
well, I don't really feel bad for you because you're trying to drop a meteor on Earth.
Yeah.
So there's this like pull between him being sympathetic, but like he's not really sympathetic.
No.
He just tears a guy's arm off and doesn't really think anything
Yeah,
about it.
and he's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sure that'll be fine.
Yeah. It's like, you tore a guy's arm off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thor is looking for Infinity Stones, and he doesn't find any.
Although several times, and I don't know, and several times, there was a longer version of that scene where it's like, oh, here's the pool of spirits that nobody's ever mentioned before and we'll never see again.
Mm-hmm.
And if the water spirits accept me, I can go back to my dream. What? What are you talking about?
I have no idea. And Dr. Selvig is there with him.
Yeah. Now, speaking of doctors, this would be a great place to drop Doctor Strange in.
Yes.
I need help reaching a mystical something or other, but not time for that yet.
No.
They actually say several times in this movie, gem, which I thought must have been inserted by Whedon to acknowledge the fact that they are Infinity Gems.
Okay.
In the comics. Now they're stones, of course. That's
right.
the name they've chosen for the films. But yeah, like just referring to the fact that they are gems.
Interesting.
Because the thing that gets put in Vision's head, they call gem a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah, what'd you think about the flashbacks or the evil nightmares that they have?
They were pretty scary.
I thought it was great filmmaking to make a 40s USO dance threatening.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have like spooky guys with doll masks or anything. It was like just flash bulbs and everything you'd expect to see.
Yep.
But it was like there's like two guys that are like in this brutal fist fight.
Yep.
And everybody's smiling just a little too much.
Yep. Somebody has like spilled wine on themselves and it kind of looked like blood.
Yeah, right.
And they were like trying to wipe it up.
Yeah. That's good filmmaking.
Yeah, it was. It was really great. And Agent Carter is there, and she's like, "Are you ready for our dance?" And
she's racked up more credits in these things than some people whose names are on these movies.
That's true.
Seeing Haley Atwell in the credits of a Marvel film is just like, oh, well, of course.
Of course she's in this. Yeah.
It's got to be nice for her.
Yeah.
Do you think that the Soul Stone is Heimdall's eyes? That's
I'd be really sad if it was.
That's the H in Thanos.
Oh, my gosh.
Apparently. And he's blind in the vision that Thor has.
That's true.
Because he's lost the eyes that are the stone somehow.
So if he's still alive, then I'd be okay. Okay with it. If he was still alive somehow.
Right. And then Idris Elba has to just do like a Zatoichi blind swordsman type thing.
Sure. That could be awesome.
Hawkeye actually gets called Hawkeye in this movie.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever called Hawkeye in any other movies or anything.
Oh, okay.
Maybe, I don't know, we'll have to see Civil War, but you don't know if it's a code name or something. Like Black Widow is sometimes referred to as Black Widow, but she's usually just Natasha.
That's true.
And
he's usually just Clint or Barton.
Yeah. This is, like I said, this is a movie where they're very focused on saving everybody in the midst of urban destruction.
Yep.
A year later, a movie would come out called Batman vs. Superman.
Yep.
Where they're doing that, but only because 2013's Man of Steel made a big point of not giving a crap
Yep.
who dies.
Yeah.
So.
And destruction everywhere.
They save people.
Yeah.
Superheroes.
Yeah.
The score is by Danny Elfman. But you wouldn't even know.
No.
Apparently, whoever holds the stick was behind him, and every time he's like, "What if I can go?" No, no,
no, Danny Elfman.
no arpeggios. Rating?
I'm gonna give it a 3.
Okay,
How about you?
I'll give it 4.
Okay.
I think it's an amazing, massive undertaking.
Yeah.
You know, just because it's shorter than Avengers, but if I feel like it's too long, you know, it's, yeah, I was disappointed the first time I saw it, but, you know, when I watch it, it's like, yeah, this has got good parts. And it's the Avengers.
Yeah.
They're doing cool stuff.
Yeah.
At the very end, they talk about, so the Hulk flies away.
Yes.
And then Fury says, and I guess Fury just works for the Avengers now.
I guess so.
But they say that you know, this plane crashed in Java Sea or whatever.
He's
So
probably
like,
going out to Fiji.
That's probably where he is. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
What crashed in the Java Sea? We know it wasn't that plane.
Good point.
They don't know where they're going with these things.
No.
It happens.
Yeah.
Poor Quicksilver.
Poor Quicksilver.
Yeah, we're gonna miss him.
I know. It was kind of sad when he died.
We always back up and have to do this stuff. Was it?
It was a little sad.
We're gonna miss your terrible accent. So we didn't talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy scene, which is fun because
Howard the Duck is there.
it doesn't lead to anything.
Yeah,
It's just for fun.
that's
I
true.
don't see that a lot. And then the scene at the end of this is very abrupt.
Yeah.
And it's literally just Thanos.
Yep.
I'll do it myself.
I'll do it myself, and he gets the Infinity Gauntlet.
In another 3 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my haiku is Ultron is clever and a huge threat. The Avengers band together to win.
Perfect.
Yeah.
No laser in this movie.
No.
There's a big laser that Tony shoots at the thing that makes the thing blow up, but no blue laser.
No blue laser.
Ants.
All over.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. 2015.
Yep.
Directed by Peyton Reed of Down with Love
Oh boy.
and Bring It On. He's our man. This movie had a tortured path to the screen.
Yep.
Originally the brainchild of Edgar Wright and Joe Cornish, who often worked together, or at least, they worked together. And their names are still on the movie, technically.
Okay.
But also there is a writing credit for Adam McKay
Okay.
of Anchorman fame, and Paul Rudd
Oh,
got
really?
a writing credit on it as well.
Huh.
And eventually was directed by Peyton Reed. So, yeah, you can look into that. We'll never know what kind of movie we would have got. I feel like there are some definite touches. There are some righty touches in this.
Yeah.
I feel like the swoopy, so I was at a wine tasting and did this and did that. Those
Yes.
scenes, which I don't want to say they feel out of
With-
place, but they're definitely stylized.
Yeah.
Feel kind of Edgar Wright-ish to me. The use of music in kind of weird places, like the fight scene that's set to Disintegration or whatever, by
Right.
The Cure.
Right.
Just seems like a weird choice. It's an Edgar Wright type thing. It stars Paul Rudd, because why isn't he in a Marvel movie yet?
Right.
Here he is.
Here he is. Front and center.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And Evangeline Lilly, fresh off the Hobbit movies. Yeah, well, nobody's perfect. Is in it. Corey Stoll is in it.
Yep.
Mr. Bad Guy.
Yep.
I think he's my least favorite Marvel villain.
Really?
I mean, I don't love him, but he's just fleshy Ultron. It's just
Yeah.
another guy who
It's
is
true.
frustrated that his mentor doesn't
Trust
acknowledge
him.
his accomplishments. They talk about how the particles have driven him crazy, but before he ever shrinks, he's a nutbag.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately.
Absolutely. From
And
the
he's
beginning of the film.
Murdering, like, his associates.
Yeah.
And he's just... there's never a point where it's like, I could do bad. And that'll get me what I want.
Right.
He's just always completely crazy. Corey Stoll is... I mean, he's always kind of turned up, but he's just full on, like, comic book acting.
Mm-hmm.
Not my favorite.
I could see that.
Oh, am I supposed to say what happens in this movie?
Yeah.
Hank Pym is a scientist who has invented a technology that allows a soldier to shrink to tiny size but keep his strength, and also he can control ants. And S.H.I.E.L.D. wants to use this technology, but Hank Pym worried that they'll use it or that it'll get out to bad actors. That's not really what I meant, but I guess it works out anyway. Decides to retire instead of sharing it with S.H.I.E.L.D. Then we fast forward to the modern day where Scott Lang, a small-time criminal, is getting out of prison.
Yep.
He can't get work, and he has to support his or pay child support to his wife for his daughter that he cares about. So he ends up taking a job, which is actually him breaking into Hank Pym's house and stealing the Ant-Man suit.
Yep.
It turns out that Hank Pym needs a skilled thief in order to take on Corey Stoll's project. He's developed his own version of the Ant-Man suit, which he's going to sell to Hydra.
Yeah.
And hijinks ensue, both big and small.
Yep.
Judy Greer's in it.
Yes, she is.
As a naggy wife.
Yep.
Evangeline Lilly's in it. As a naggy
nagging
daughter. And the movie even knows what it's doing and keeps doing it. The movie wastes no chance to reiterate that Hope should be the one doing
in
this.
the suit.
There is no reason that we need Scott Lang.
Yep.
Paul Rudd does not need to be in this. It should just be her.
Yep.
And then it rubs your face in it at the end. She gets her Terrence Howard moment.
Yeah.
Next time, baby.
Right.
It's like, but why not this time?
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating. Scott says at one point, well, I'm expendable. That's why I'm the one in the suit and not you.
That's their justification.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't really make any sense.
No.
Although he does bring his crew of ragtag dudes along with him.
Yep.
Including T.I. for some reason.
Yep.
And Michael Pena.
Yep.
Why isn't he in a Marvel movie yet?
Yep.
We know there's no Marvel's Hispanic superheroes, so he'll just have to play this guy that likes waffles.
Yep.
What'd you think of the movie? Do you like it? Why is there a dance party downstairs?
I don't know. Because they just want to show that they live around people who maybe make weird choices with their lives.
I guess.
I don't know.
In the Milgram Hotel.
Yeah.
It's a reference to Al Milgram, who was a penciler, I believe. He drew West Coast Avengers for a long time.
Okay.
In which Hank Pym was a major character.
Okay.
So that's what that is.
Well, that's kind of cool.
Yep. There's a lot of Easter eggs like that in the film.
Okay. Yeah, I like the film okay. I feel like I liked it better than when I first saw it.
Yeah.
It still has some issues.
This is the first one that I was like,
No.
Like Age of Ultron, I've talked about my problems with it, but there are parts of it that are like really great. I like Thor: The Dark World, even though I recognize that it's kind of by the numbers.
Yep.
But this is the first one for me that was like, this really doesn't add anything to the Marvel Universe.
No.
I mean, we get Giant Man out of it.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
And maybe it's going to be a Captain America: The First Avenger thing where Ant-Man and the Wasp is going to be so much better than the first installment. But this is the first one for me that was like, this doesn't really need to exist. If this never existed, I don't think the MCU would be better or worse.
That's true. Although I do love Paul Rudd as Ant-Man in Civil War.
Yeah.
So.
Right. But they could have just pulled him out of that van, explained who he was, and we're off to the races.
That's true. That's actually completely true.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of like, they have this whole plan where they got to go through the pipes. There's a million ants. They're going to fry this thing and do all this stuff. And it's like one Black Widow and we're done.
Right.
They would just, the next day, they would find a bunch of people shot in the head and an empty magnifying glass thing where there's no suit anymore because Black Widow just went in and killed everybody and took it.
Right.
But we can't call the Avengers.
No. Even though like Scott Lang even says, I think our first move is to call the Avengers.
Right. Well, they have to at least acknowledge that, because people would be saying for every one of these films now, Caecilius is destroying Hong Kong. Where are the Avengers?
Right.
Why doesn't Thor just smash him
right
in the head
right
with a hammer? It wouldn't work, I guess. Yeah, there's just yeah. So the particles make you insane, and he shrinks that lamb. I'm like, oh no, that lamb is now dangerously
crazy.
insane.
Yeah.
He loves killing lambs.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Lambs for the slaughter or something?
Probably.
Also, like how they set it in San Francisco, a new sort of venue for these films. That's nice.
Yep.
And here's a Marvel movie. How much did this one cost? This one cost $142 million.
Okay.
It made $519, still respectable. We spent $150 million on this. Let's set the whole movie in this weird old house.
Yes.
There are so many scenes of them standing around in an old house,
Mm-hmm.
just going, I don't know if this is, what are we going to do?
Right.
Like, nothing happens in the second act of this.
Yeah.
At the very end of the second act, Falcon shows up, which is like,
Yeah.
finally something fun is going to happen in this movie. But
Right.
for a movie that's supposed to be a comedy and so hilarious, it's just a lot of Evangeline Lilly frowning at people and, and then Scott Lang, Paul Rudd making jokes that were clearly just, oh, this is my reaction on the day. And it's not that funny.
Yeah.
Help me.
The fight
Help me.
on the train set in Cassie's room is pretty epic.
Well, that's worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
That's what the whole movie should have been.
Yes.
Just taking.
I agree.
Yeah, taking.
The ordinary and making it.
Yeah, taking
extraordinary.
ooh, that sounds like a good slogan. But no, but just taking the fact that they can do this and applying it to things.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, where he gets hit, but no, the train just hits him and then falls over. Yeah, just doing that sort of thing. Them fighting, in the briefcase.
Yep.
Only lasts a couple seconds, but things
But
like
it's
that.
fun.
Yeah, but the rest of it is just so much build up for not all that much payoff.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think what I've seen of the previews of the second one, where the guys ducking under the huge Pez dispenser.
Yes.
I hope they really turn that up in the second film.
I hope so too.
But maybe they thought it would be too much for people to swallow in this one.
But we
More
had
Michael Pena.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
We can handle a lot.
Oh, no kidding. And I feel bad for those Hydra guys. They just came to buy a weapon.
Yeah.
We got a briefcase with money in it.
Yeah.
And instead, Corey Stoll is working out his daddy issues in front of everybody.
Yep.
And then they're gonna are you gonna shoot this guy in the face right now? Do you want to just take our money and we'll just go?
Yeah, exactly.
There's even that part where Wood, what's his name, the slimy guy.
Yeah.
When he's here we go, all the guns come out, and
Yep.
even they seem bored with it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why am I supposed to care? And I'm Bobby Cannavale.
Yeah, I
I'm in
know.
a movie.
I know. Isn't that every movie he's in?
Yeah. I know. It was theorized at one point that we would get our first glimpse, because it was already announced that Doctor Strange was going to be a thing. We'd get our first glimpse of the world of Doctor Strange when he goes to the quantum realm, which is not called the Microverse. It's not called that because they don't have the rights to that name. But the Microverse in Marvel Comics and the Micronauts first appeared in Doctor Strange, I believe. That's one of the realms that he can kind of go to.
Okay.
And I felt it was probably just a coincidence, but when he gets to the quantum realm, there's sort of those kind of mirror kaleidoscopy kind of things that reminded me of the mirror realm that they do in Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
Okay. Yeah. The Stan Lee cameo is at the end of the movie. And he just repeats, yeah, she's crazy and stupidly fine, and he's a bartender.
Right.
And he doesn't even say the words. He mouths them.
Right.
So.
Yeah. That proves that, I guess, the end of this movie or the last scene takes place in the middle of Civil War. Because then the final credits scene is a scene from Civil War.
Yep.
Where he's like, I know a guy.
Yeah.
And so apparently they took the time for him to go talk to that Asian lady.
Yep.
And be like, I'm looking for a guy.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I don't know how that works. They're being hunted in Germany, but he has time to go do that. And it's kind of a technicality, but there's a million blue lasers in this movie.
Yeah, there are.
That all come from the
Yellow Jacket.
The Yellow Jacket suit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to count that as blue laser was yes. Anything else? What's your rating for this film?
I think I'm going to give it a 2.
Okay.
That just feels right.
I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'm going to go 2.5.
Okay.
Like, could do better.
Yeah.
See me.
See me after class.
Yeah. Not bad, could be better.
Okay. Do you want to hear my haiku?
Yes, I do.
Lang is super small for a hero. He wallops a punch. The bad guys go down.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it for that. Anything? Oh, and what's the end credit scene? Oh, and I want to talk about this. Is one of those things where this is not a good credit sequence.
No.
I think they're trying to do like a Powers of 10 thing because it starts as like a satellite image, and then we're seeing all that Paul Rudd, all the names or whatever. Paul Rudd gets above the title credit, by the way.
Yeah.
Which is like, look, I like Paul Rudd, but this is really a team effort.
Yeah.
Haley Atwell's in this thing.
Yeah.
John Slattery's in this thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then it just kind of zooms in and it's like, this is boring. Creative. It's too bad. Too bad. Looking forward. I will be first in line to see Ant-Man and the Wasp, however.
Yeah.
It's looking pretty good.
Yep.
Anything to say about Phase 2? Let's wrap it up here.
I think it had some of the best films.
I think it has the best films.
Some of Marvel's like best films. Especially Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Those two are tops for me.
Yeah.
So, it had some films that I think could have done better, but, like I said, it had some of the top films. So,
how did they miss the one who makes you bigger and the other makes you? They're literally in San Francisco.
I don't know.
And they missed that reference.
I don't know.
Because that's kind of like because one glove, one button makes you bigger, I guess, and the other one makes you small. And it looks like we will get the original Wasp back because Michelle Pfeiffer's playing Janet Van Dyne. I guess,
okay.
in the movie, so. Yeah, I echo everything that you said. I think, well, I say it's the best phase. Some great movies, some really fun movies in the third one, and we'll see how Infinity War turns out. But I think the tightest, best films are in this.
Yep.
If there was no other MCU, and here's a movie called Guardians of the Galaxy, works perfectly. If you just go, you have to accept that there's this guy that was frozen in World War II, and now he's here now, and this is a spy movie, works perfectly.
Yep.
And then there's some other movies.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just putting it on 2 movies, but and like I said, Age of Ultron is like the MCU's Transformers. Like it's just huge, bloated. There's just too much happening, but a lot of it's really good. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's Transformers or not.
It kind of is.
Maybe not. So anyway, that's it for that. And I guess we'll be back next week to do Marvel Phase 3.
Yep.
Yep. Is that all you have to say?
We'll be back next week.
Aren't you thrilled for this?
I'm thrilled.
Are we actually going to watch these films? Some of these films I've seen like just a couple months ago.
I know.
I might pretend like I watched them.
Okay.
We're going to have full commentary. That's for sure.
That's for sure.
All right. All right, like we said, that's the end of our coverage of Phase 2, and we're moving on to Phase 3 next week. In the meantime, you can tell us what you thought about Marvel Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3.5, 3.14, repeating, whatever, on our Facebook and social media pages at Just Enough Trope. You can find us there. Also, you can find us on iTunes, also known as Apple Podcasts, at Just Enough Trope. We're also on Stitcher, and all those great places you can find our show. When you find us, please subscribe. It's the best way to get the show. It comes to you as soon as it's ready to go. You can also leave us a review.
Yes.
We'd appreciate that. Tell us what phase of our career has been the best to date, if you would. And leave us a rating. That's really the most important part, because that's how the system knows that we're doing a good job. We're in the system.
That's right.
All right. And that's how we move up in the ranks and get exposed to more people. So, yeah, give us 5 micro universes.
Okay.
just that are kind of the mirror universe. It's not
Sure.
the mirror universe. Everybody would have a goatee. It's not quite the same thing. But everything is very tiny and small.
Yes.
If it's all small, why is it so close together?
I don't know.
He starts shrinking, and then you see like, oh, maybe this is pollen or something.
Yeah.
But then he keeps shrinking, and there's more stuff. And it's like, well, is there space between these molecules? Or wow, the quantum realm is like packed with stuff. You'd think there would be a lot of space in between things, but I guess not. I don't want to deal with all that, so just give us 5 stars. We'd appreciate it. I mean, I don't know what to say. We're pretty much done here for tonight, so we're going to sign off until the next time we're covering, again, Marvel's Phase 3, leading up to our review of Avengers Infinity War. And signing off, I'm your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Mika.
Keep the geek fires burning.